Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to FSL Elite Day 2 of the League of Legends edition. Right now we are in the lower bracket final. We have top 10 Dinos going up against the Lannisters, and before we proceed into looking at this match, I just want to give all credit to Liab for making it this far in the tournament, and from their humble beginnings as GGTY, getting picked up by Liab as an organization, and now being expanded to play in FSL Elite. I feel like that is a win in and of itself. Like, they should go home with their heads high and not say that they failed to qualify for the finals in itself.
Yeah, 100% agree. We definitely want to see Liab come back in the next iteration of FSL Elite. But right now on your screen is our continued schedule for today. Right now is our first best of 3 here at Comex. Lannisters versus top 10 Dino coming to you shortly.
Between these two teams, we look at the schedule. Top 10 Dinos earlier today suffered a defeat at the hands of Box Gaming, dropping into the lower bracket, and right now they will have their chance for redemption. And similarly, Lannisters as well, trying their best and pushing forward in this tournament, will be able to stand up to the Singaporean representatives, and hopefully the winner of this is going to make their way into the winner bracket finals and challenge in a best of 3 for a chance to be the FSL Elite champion.
Yep. Speaking about this best of 3, I think it's going to be very competitive, especially now that we've seen the fact that Rotate has actually become more on form yesterday, shaking off the jitters perhaps from yesterday.
She's got a coffee in, she's warmed up, had a good meal, had a nice rest yesterday, and now she's like hot and ready to go.
Yep, this looks to be a very explosive best of 3. I think both these teams have also shown that they can play the macro game, so I'm really interested to see how both these teams stack up.
They do have a similar style in the fact that, you alluded to, the 1-4 is very prominent in what they do enjoy playing and do excel at when it comes to the composition and the drafts. You think about Rotate playing in the top lane, Renekton in the previous game, Urif playing the Yorick quite a lot. I won't be surprised if we see that matchup again in the top lane.
100%. I think the main difference between both these teams at Lannisters, they're much more happy jumping in. I think the decision making on those engages are much more snappy than what we've seen from top 10 Dinos.
Yeah, and Dinos have had some weaknesses when it comes to calling the engages. You think about how they lost earlier today to Box Gaming. It was, Spabi on that Kane occasionally going a bit too deep without the knowledge and without the confirmation of her teammates, and then getting picked off early on, right? So this time, the comms need to be on point. You need to be all on the same page if you want to win this. And I mean, still best of 3, got some wiggle room to play with.
Yeah, that's the thing about best of 3s. You have to be mindful that you can adapt midway through the series. Perhaps there's a champion that you want to ban away from next year. You can definitely do that. You can definitely find your way back into this game. The main issue is that you don't want to show your nerves too much. You have to calm down. Like you said, have your communication on point.
Right.
And that's how you that's the best way that you can win the best of 3.
Right, we are in picks and bans, and on the blue side, it's the Kane banned out instantly against Spabi, and Urif was joking about whether she'd get the Yorick this game. I'm quite curious if she will. The Aatrox though will not be a surprise here, as they did ban that earlier in game 1. If it's any indication, we will see the Renekton second ban through from top 10 Dinos as well. The Nico now will be targeted at Urif here.
Yeah, you definitely want to take Rotate off all those high impact carries that we've seen her play. I think Ryze, maybe you leave it up, because I don't think... No, Ryze is something you can punish earlier on in the game, but the Aatrox, the Fiora, perhaps even the Renekton, well, that's something that you don't want to allow to go over to the other side. And we do see, finally, the Zoe being taken off the board.
Yeah, Zoe finally banned out against Amelia, and well, the Renekton and Fiora in the same vein of what we expected. These high impact answers to the 1-4 split push, instant lock away the Kai'Sa. Now Vortex suddenly has to play something different, because I think for majority of the tournament, she's been allowed the opportunity to play the Kai'Sa.
We've seen that Vortex can actually go for, the Xayah, and I think it was the Sivir, I'm actually not sure, but Vayne does manage to get her hands back on the Nautilus scene, very comfortable on this pick, and allowing it to go through, just putting Vayne in this comfort zone for them to continue engaging.
I actually do want to point out though, the fact that because they got Nautilus, now they can play Xayah, right? Which is a combination we saw earlier, I believe, when the Kai'Sa was banned out. Every chance they got, they took it, but when it was banned out, Xayah was the default. And this pick, or at least this duo in the bot lane, works very interestingly, because the way it works is that you want to layer the feathers behind your opponents, and you want to use Nautilus's dredge line to pull them back in. So in a sense, there's this synergy between layering the positioning of the feathers and pulling the enemies in.
There's certainly one way you can go about doing that, but the main thing for me with this Nautilus pick is that it's Vayne's comfort. She's played it like 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
So I expect good things out of this bot lane. I don't want to see them just, sit there and farm for the entire game. I want to see them step up, like we saw Lannisters Lannisters Risu and Patty Thompson did last game.
Now, interestingly, the response here, Kaiser Morgana. Morgana is normally seen as the response pick towards Nautilus to deny the CC coming through. But the Akali here is the interesting one because we haven't seen all too much of Akali from a lot of teams. Sure, it's been present. Sure, it's always been a threat, and Akali is definitely more popular in the global meta in terms of other regions as opposed to FSL.
Now, Amelia has played a lot of control mages. She's played Ahri, she's played the Zoe, she's played the Syndra. What picking this Akali means is that if she goes for the control mages, she is going to have to be very careful to not overstep, or Akali's just going to burst her.
But this is smart. They get the Poppy, which was left open during the draft. They put it on Spubby's jungler, the jungler's Spubby, and what this allows them to do is deny a lot of the damage coming through from Akali, because Steadfast Presence actually does block the perfect execution. It does block the Shuriken flip, and suddenly Akali is not as mobile and as slippery as she was before.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep a lid on this Akali. You never want to see this champion pop off, because she's just going to go into the backline and delete your entire team. She definitely has the capability of doing so. Now, we should also point out that Akali can go towards that top lane, but it doesn't seem like something Rotate would play. Definitely looking towards something more tanky, so that she can become that front line for her team.
They remove the Sejuani knowing that they have their own jungle pick now, so they want to limit the pool a little bit. I think Jarvan actually might just be the next ban coming through from top 10 dinos, considering that Kassadin has been banned out. Kassadin as a response to Akali is not necessarily the best one, but it does do well in terms of dealing with the magic damage because of your Q, as well as the scaling and the mobility coming through.
I like that you point out the jungle ban though, because what we've seen throughout the qualifiers from top 10 dinos is that they don't like to play standard, and even though we don't see the Jarvan ban, we do see the Sejuani ban. I think a point that you brought up earlier on in the day is that Jarvan matching into Poppy isn't exactly very favorable for him either, so
it's kind of tricky when you play the Jarvan to Poppy because your EQ is denied by the Steadfast Presence of the Poppy, so I still think there is some value because you don't necessarily have to match gank for gank. You can be more aggressive against the Poppy, and when it comes to hitting the waves and the lanes. It will be the Kled last ban coming through and the Yorick against Yurif, so sorry man, no Yorick this time.
Feels bad, man. Well, now what do you gravitate towards? Like the Swain? I think we were discussing this earlier.
Right.
You said you didn't want to see the Swain.
So the Swain is an option. The Cannon is also an option for Yurif if they want to, but getting the Cannon might just signal to us that they want to play a teamfight composition, which is something they weren't comfortable with yesterday, right? The Corki for Amelia early on in the mid lane is decent because she's had performances on that during the qualifiers, but Corki has seen some nerfs since then.
Yeah, 100%. Corki into Akali is going to be pretty difficult for this Akali to push out the wave, because Corki is going to have that permanent priority over the assassin. But one thing that the Corki has to look out for is once we hit the first item spike for this Akali, she can just jump on you and delete you instantly.
Yeah, you must respect the all-in potential coming through. It could be Akali top lane now, Rotate.
Okay.
Hasn't played that at all, but it's in theme and in line with what this player wants to do.
You need a tank jungler then, because this is a very, very squishy comp going up against a Poppy and Nautilus. And the fact that you don't have these tanks just makes you so much weaker if you do go for those team fights.
Yeah, we think about what tank junglers, or pseudo-tanks if you will, are left available. I think Skarner might be a decent option here if you wanted. Olaf as well might fulfill that role as a pseudo-tank.
Okay, this is the point I wanted to bring up yesterday, because I think Olaf suits these teams' playstyle amazingly.
Right.
This is a pick that I wanted to see throughout the entire tournament.
The early prio, the skirmishing, I get what you're trying to say.
100% enjoy seeing this pick right now, because I think if played well, you can just, take out the entire map.
Yeah, the early control from this Olaf is going to be super important, and Tawan has been someone that has been looking to enable Rotate. We take a look at the early game today. Elise, it's one of those early prior champions. Okay, I actually know this. This is a Malzahar cheese pick in top lane for Yurif. It's one of her pocket cheese picks, and she can play this.
Cheese picks, Malzahar top.
I kid you not. So what you do is you play like non-interactive League of Legends. You just like put the Malefic Visions down. It consistently pushes the wave out. And then eventually you hit level 6 when Akali tries to all in you just trade against her 1-for-1. Because Malzahar is one of the best 1v1 champions in an isolated vacuum. And in top lane, that's what it does.
Okay, especially against the Akali, I think I can see where you're going with this. When she goes in, just, like you said, use ultimate, she's locked down, she cannot go further in.
And because it is ranged versus melee, Akali is going to get punished quite a bit in the long lane. You can actually just run her down once she has no more energy. So when you play in this top side, Rotate has to respect the range, has to respect the damage, has to respect the ganks coming through as well.
The fact is, though, that Malzahar is also still a control mage, and once that shield is down in the mid-game, Akali can still burst her, so she has to be mindful of that. And if you say she's so, proficient as this champion, she definitely should be.
But the danger now, the way I look at it is that both teams have drafted double AP solo laners, and when you have double AP, the threat of falling off when you hit the mid game, when people start to itemize against you, is very real. Olaf is definitely going to be going towards the magic resist style items, and so is Poppy. And then you have who's tankier in the front line, who can sort of shred through that tanky front line first. I am more keen to place my bets on the Corki here.
100%. Corki does require a bit to get going, but once you hit that mid game, once you hit, I think it's 3 item mark, that's the go signal, right? You don't really have to worry about getting bursted that much anymore, and that's when Corki really comes online in these team fights.
Yeah, the 3 items you want to look out for: Trinity Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge. That's like the point where Corki says, go, let's fight, because she's going to start critting at a impossibly high rate, and with the conversion on her auto attacks, it makes it much more difficult, right, for your opponents to sort of deal with that when you have the armor shred coming through as well, or the magic resist shred from the Gatling gun.
Yeah, one more thing I want to bring up is that this Poppy, for everyone who's just joining us, this is Bubby's Poppy. She likes to go in early, she's going to pick up Electrocute, and she's going to want to burst you down. So this Poppy is not going to sit back, not going to farm up for a tank, but it does look like we're going to break.
No, we are just holding up the hit-to-hit, and overall remember that this is a best of 3. So right now it's 0-0 of course, and the first to 2 is going to take this. My prediction for this is a very well-rounded 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 I think is, the reasonable one. But I think one thing we were discussing about earlier is that we have to look at the first game. We have to see how these teams stack up against each other today, especially, before we can come to any sort of judgments.
It feels like both teams have prepared some sort of strats to counter each other. The fact that, they first pick or early pick the Akali and rotate it in the top lane, give Christy the Orianna. It's like an example of that, right? It's an adaptation. It's not something we see them do at all during this tournament. And when it comes to micro metas, when it comes to tournament-based metas, this is what we see so often.
I like that point that Lannisters went back, they looked at the VODs, they're like, hey, we can go for the Akali, we can go for the Olaf, and we are going to counter them using these 2 picks. And we just have to wait and see whether or not these 2 picks are going to be effective against what top 10 dinos want to do.
Reminiscent to the previous FSL Elite earlier this year in Q1, the Thai representatives back then, close behind esports, were also really, really quick at adapting. Their skill ceiling was so high despite coming in on a lower base level, but game after game, their evolution was so good to watch, and that was what allowed them to take first place. I see some semblance of that in Lannisters this game. I'm hoping to see more of that as the tournament continues. This is the first best of 3. The winner of this is going to proceed into the next best of 3. But for now, we will be cutting to a video showcasing both teams, I believe. Alright, we're on Summoner's Rift for our first best of 3 for today. It's the lower bracket final. First to 2 is going to make it into the finals itself, and there are a lot of things at stake here. I think the first place is going to be walking away with $1,000 in some peripherals sponsored by Logitech, so get a trip here, you get a nice prize pool.
Some very nice keyboards on the line as well. Definitely, you want to be walking away with that. It's a very nice prize.
Looks like a pretty standard start from both teams here. 5 men spread out.
Yeah, nothing too aggressive. I think day 1 was the day for aggressiveness. Today we're just, chilling out. You don't want to give your enemies any sort of edge, especially earlier on in the game. So both teams just waiting to see if anyone will overstep the bounds.
And like you pointed out during Champion Select, Spubby went for the Electrocute Poppy, this very aggressive style on the jungler. So top 10 dinos are sort of in their zone right now. If you think about what comfort picks are, Yurith on the Malzahar, Spubby on the jungle Poppy, and Amelia on the Corki, which she did play during the qualifiers to great effect. And if I remember correctly as well, she did play during the Go Gamer qualifiers in the indoor stadium at Campus Game Fest earlier this year, so it's not something she's any stranger to.
Yeah, definitely, but right now I'd like to talk a little bit about the jungle matchup, because one thing that Olaf does bring against Poppy is that when he uses his ult, he is pretty much unstoppable, so he cannot be rammed away. And, you know, he can just continue running at you. And if you're Poppy, you don't really have any way to get out. And if you are unable to burst him down, he's just going to burst you down instead.
Not just the Poppy, but also the Malzahar instead. When you hit level 6, you pop the Ragnarok, you can literally just run and you rip, right? You're not going to get suppressed. So you're going to have to respect the Olaf coming in. You know, look at the top lane. He's getting pushed in already, rotate with the early advantage. Yurif having to respect the damage.
Yeah, Yurif actually just returning with poke on her own. Just a few auto attacks, putting down some decent damage on rotate already early. This is going to be how this lane is going to play out. Rotate's just going to slowly push, and she can't get too close to the wave, or she's just going to get auto attacked to death.
Good dodge away in the bot lane from Vayne. Level 2 was hit first by the Thai bot laners, but here they are just moving up aggressively, landing the dredge line, I believe, onto the AD carry. A good deal of damage down, having to flash away. The ignite was used, and the root coming through from the passive, the plasma proc, will finally happen, and Vayne and Vortex get chunked out as well. Lannister showed that they can give as much as they can take, and this is a pretty even bot lane still.
We actually saw this yesterday, but at the moment, Olaf doesn't like what he sees, so it looks like he's gonna go in and try to salvage this lane.
One arriving, a preemptive flash to get away from the Dark Binding, and a good dredge line from Vayne to get out of danger. Using the Titan's Wrath as well to put the shield up, and that's gonna be the end of that gank. They do burn a flash though.
Yep, good disengage to get out of dodge from that gank, but Kirsty and Amelia, not sure what happened here, but Amelia is super low now.
The recall getting cancelled, but I don't think Rotate wants to take this fight. Tell a lie, she's going in, she's flashing in for the kill. The Shuriken Flip not really gonna find its target as she will get out. Rip going in with the Malefic Visions and the flash, but a bit greedy there. Maybe not the best move, Cindy.
We've seen a lot of fights take place across the board on this map, but the fact of the matter is that it's just been a trade of summoner spells. No kills have gone either way just yet, but that is a lot of flashes burned from both sides.
And think about what burning summoner spells this early on means. It means that you create pressure on these lanes without access to those, right? You lose a bit of tempo when you hit the lanes this early on, but you can re-gank the lanes. A good deal of pressure down exerted already. Goal as it stands in favor of Lannisters purely by virtue of CS.
Yep, CS for Lannisters because they are pushing up quite a bit on all three lanes right now, which means Morgana has the freedom to just walk up into that river, put down a bit of vision, maybe even look for a bit of a roam if Amelia permits.
So what this early ward in the enemy jungle gives them is that it allows them to play more aggressively. You can see now they are setting up this play already. Paddy sitting on the side looking for the Dark Binding, will not connect enough as they flash forward with the Q. Jeez, that Valkyrie was a bit delayed coming through, and I think the Dark Binding hitting his target was enough to get the kill.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Amelia, that Dark Binding does land before the Valkyrie does connect and get her out. The damage comes through, Kirsty manages to pick up a kill, just makes it easier for her to not get pushed in by the Corki.
Mew on the top side, Yurif getting pushed in, but will have the CS lead. So far though, on the board is Kirsty with the flash expanded to get the kill. Amelia now trying to delay the recall, playing super aggressively in fact, using the Valkyrie to get out of turret range.
Yeah, the fact right now is Amelia wants to, you know, force Kirsty to back off and teleport back to lane. Doesn't want to allow her to cheat a recall once that teleport expanded, but if you take a look on your minimap right now, both Olaf and Poppy, they're positioning towards that top side and might actually spot themselves out, but a ward's just going to spot out the Olaf.
Yeah, the control ward not seen by Tawan, so that's a ward is going to survive for a couple minutes longer. Meanwhile, they get knowledge of where the Olaf is and they back off.
They do manage to get, Lannisters do manage to get information on where the Poppy is as she exits because she does walk over a ward, so both junglers very much aware of where each other are standing at the moment.
Still, Vayne has been making multiple visits to this mid lane at the expense of her bot lane, who has been shoving up consistently and then buying some space for the duo to respond.
Yeah, Vayne right now has been spending a lot of time away from her lane, which just means she's on level 3 as her lane opponent is on level 4 and the Kai'Sa now even on level 5, so there's just an XP disadvantage from the Nautilus, which means you're not going to be able to capitalize once you get your ult.
I'm curious what your prediction is on the item path for this Kai'Sa. Do you go for Mana Immune or do you go for the Stormrazor? Because compared to the item path of the Xayah, I feel like you do want the early spike in the Stormrazor.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but we did see the Stormrazor come out last game as well, especially against this Xayah, because Xayah does come online faster than Kai'Sa in general. So you want that item spike early so that you can contest in these teams fight, well, early, I guess.
Good chunk onto Amelia. Level 6 hit on Kirsty means that Shockwave is available if they want to make that play happen. But just being content clearing out the wave. As you see on the top side, Bubby making a visit once more. They did burn the flash of Rotate earlier, remember, and it's the same timing as Bubby, so they have a good idea of how long more this summer spell has before it cools down.
Yeah, this top lane is going to be very volatile, very important to how the rest of this game pans out as well. Yuriv and Rotate, both huge playmakers for our team. Cast your mind back yesterday when Yuriv basically 1v5 and ended the game. Rotate today showing up, so this is going to be a very high impact lane, and I like to see that Bubby is paying attention to it at last.
She's there just for the counter ganks, but it's costing her a lot of CS. You can see she's only 28 as compared to Tawan's 40. And the Thai representatives are actually doing a good job at dissuading all the aggression through from top 10 dinos.
Yeah, dissuading aggression is Lannister at the moment. But they are starting to get pushed in right now. Yuriv finally finding an advantage towards the top side with her constant, ranged pokes onto Rotate's Akali.
And this is what you expect in the matchup. There's never going to be a moment where the Akali is healthy. She's always going to get poked out either through Malefic Visions or auto attacks.
Yeah, the only way that Akali really finds an advantage here in this ranged matchup is honestly just to roam. Perhaps, teleport to assist their bot lane or the mid lane in the counter gank.
Speaking of bot lane, Dredge line in is not going to find Risu, but a good instinct on the back. They know that the Lannister has committed the Dredge line forward. She will flash, use the auto attacks as well, but here comes Bubby. The heal was enough. Risu is now in a world of hurt. There's no getting out for this AD carry, and they trade one for nothing here in the bot lane.
Risu, way too much, man. I mean, in the previous game, she did pretty well for herself on this Kai'Sa, but this game, I think is just a bit too much of overconfidence on her part, jumping into 3 members when the Poppy is nearby.
The Poppy flank was actually pretty good there, despite having, let's say, a less pronounced impact on the map. She has been at the right place at the right time. Package has been collected by Amelia here. The Corki will have the ability to roam out if they need to.
Yep, definitely have to be aware of this Corki's package. Able to get across the map very, very quickly, like you said. But at the moment, just continue farming with Kirsty at the moment.
Looking for the window where they make the coordinated play with the package.
You would think that it will be the dragon, but right now, instead of Infernal or a mountain like we've seen in the past game, it is an ocean. And I think the window where ocean is important. I'm going to hold that.
Oh, using the package to get out, so that's not really the ideal situation right there, I believe. Getting spotted out by Rotate, sitting on a control ward. It's not where Amelia wanted to be.
Yeah, those are the sorts of roams that Rotate need to do if she wants to get herself a hit. But the point was that, Ocean Drake might be something you don't really prioritize now that the 10-minute mark is about to be crested. If you're either of these teams, really, it's not really the most beneficial thing you want to do.
And the logic for that is that you do normally want to take a free Ocean Drake early on if you can, but after 10 minutes, the value does diminish quite a bit. Then you sort of turn your attention over to the Rift Herald instead. Speaking of which, there are 3 members here on the top side.
Yep, Rotate senses something fishy. Not actually going to step up to defend that tower, but Nautilus just going to back off as Lannisters. They start up the Ocean Drake.
Starting this one up, it should be a free objective taken, considering that Kai'Sa does a good deal of damage with her plasma stacks on the passive. So they will get it for free, and this signals to Lannisters that, hey, the jungler's the bottom side. You have to, signals to dinos that the jungler is on the bottom side.
Yep, dinos, they do start up the Rift Herald if I'm not wrong. Poppy is hovering around that pit right now, so it is going to be a trade of objectives. And we're just going to have to see how they convert the Rift Herald onto, tower plates or anything else on the map.
Tawan was seen clearing out the control ward, so this means that Bubby has full knowledge of where the enemy jungler is. It's a bit like Cluedo, right? You figure out where the enemy jungler is and then what is open for you to take. Speaking of take, though, Rotate coming in, trying to get the steal, but will not get it. The Malefic Visions and the out as well will suppress her. Tries to use the perfect execution out, but they will get the kill eventually. It's going to be Spubby that gets the kill credit for that one. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, coming in, there are multiple members, but the ball being used aggressively. Oh, so Shackles here, they will find a kill. Risu is going to get that one. Vortex in the middle of it all, not really where you want it to be.
Yeah, overstep from Rotate to start things off. They're just trying to stop them from taking the Rift Herald, not being Ooh, okay.
That's a good cancel though. The
nice.
Shockwave being used to deny the Rift Herald there in the mid lane.
100% worth. There was a chunk of gold from tower plates just gone with that shockwave, and this allows Lannisters to just continue the siege on the bottom side, now just being answered by Yuriv. Each team just going to pick up some gold from these tower plates.
So not only do they open up the bot side, they might just give one more over here as Vayne has to use the stopwatch here. under the turret. Meanwhile, Bubby is in a world of hurt against Kirsty. It's going to be the Orianna that gets the kill. They get the Nolus, they get the Poppy, and they're looking for more here inside the jungle. Turning the fight around, Amelia joining in, Yurif in the center of it all. Perfect execution as well as the Killer Instinct across, I believe. They will find the Corki, they trade 2 for 1, and Yurif will get another.
Yep, overall, beneficial to Lannisters was that trade. And what were the Dinos doing there? Vayne, why were you stepping up so far to the turret against 3 members? Just a little bit of discoordination across the board from these top 10 Dinos members.
I feel like both teams are getting a little bit concerned at the game state. They want to make something happen, but they don't know what their limits are, so they end up pushing the envelope just a little bit too much. And right there was a mistake. It wasn't the Killer Instinct, it wasn't the perfect execution. It was the Killer Instinct to get out there from Risu. So overall, the play is still belonging to Lannisters. They still have priority and control. They are about 800 gold ahead.
Yep, just more tower plays just being traded at the moment. Bot for top. Rotate just taking a few and walking away. Poppy is hovering top though, and Rotate is positioning towards that river, so have to be very careful right now as Orianna also pops out.
Kirsty looking to make something happen here, uses the Scryer's Bloom. We'll see the Poppy taking the red buff. This game has been back and forth, pretty action-packed. I would say 9 kills in 13 minutes isn't too bad.
9 kills and a whole lot more of action. Remember, a lot of these fights have just been simple trades of summoner spells, no kills to speak of, so the action in this game hasn't really been reflected on this scoreboard.
Looking at core items coming in, Yurif with the Luden's Echo early on, and the Triforce done for Amelia here in the mid lane. Whereas on the other side, Lannister's having the Luden's Echo and the Stormrazor done on the mid and ADC respectively. So a good amount of power now on Risu Thompson in the bot lane.
Yeah, Risu Thompson certainly looking pretty well with this early power spike. I want to see what she's able to do while this item discrepancy is still there. They certainly want to make something happen. Take a look right now. Tawan is hovering bot for a lane gang.
Bit of a profit you are there, Spoos, as Tawan's just sitting in the lane looking to make something happen for her bot lane duo.
In the meantime, though, Bubby is just going to walk into the enemy jungle and take a blue buff away for herself. Akali right now actually also backing away, so she understands that something is happening, and the blue buff actually goes to Amelia.
It's a trade of power across the map. Lannisters focus their attention to bot side, and top side, top 10 Dinos will finally find their first turret here.
Yep, this constant pressure that top 10 Dinos have been exerting towards the top side, forcing Rotate to back off, has now paid off as they do secure the first turret of the game at 14 minutes.
Yeah, but there's no one here really to respond towards this push. It's only Vortex and Vayne who will have to give the turret up. So it's 1-1 apiece, but Dinos get the first turret bonus. And it all goes the way of Yurif and Spubby right now, who are invading the jungle for a little bit more. Like I told you, this Pocket Malzahar pick, interesting to say the least, but pretty effective at least.
Pretty effective, 2-0 and 1 right now, 14 minutes into the game. Definitely super duper effective, and I think if I were top 10 down, I'd be very happy taking that trade. Top side tower and a bunch of camps, as well as the bonus gold from taking first tower for only the one tower from the bot side.
Rotate has picked up a QSS. She's that afraid of Yurif suppressing her in these fights, so she's gonna pay the tax, give the out up.
You would think that you would have to pay more of the tax from the rest of the team if this Malzahar begins to continue taking these kills off the board. I mean, 150 bounty at 15 minutes. That's quite a large bounty this early on in the game.
The response, Kirsty has a bounty of her own, so don't forget that the Orianna is still pretty valuable to pick her up. Inferno Dragon, a high value one, is going to be started up by top 10 Dinos. You can see the flank here from Vayne and Yurif is going to be so important when they walk up. The flank coming through a great dredge line, and they're stuck in the middle of it all. Here comes the suppression. It's going to lock onto the Morgana. The first person to fall is going to be the Dragon as they chase down this fight. Top 10 Dinos might just turn this one around. They haven't found any confirmation just yet. In fact, it's going to be Spubby that falls first. They will get the Kai'Sa on the back and the bounty as well. But it's only a trade 1-for-1. Spubby falls, and so does Risu.
It could have been much worse, but credit to Kirsty for coming in on the backside of that fight and using a shockwave to zone out too.
Not done yet as they chase forward.
Whoa.
A great Shuriken flip is going to find his target, and now Rotate leaping forward. Looking for more with the speed boost, the dissonance, giving them the space that they need. Patty, Kirsty, and Rotate just storming up the river. A great chunk coming in. The heal might not be enough. Vortex has to kite this one out. Amelia now getting tagged up, and Rotate finds the second kill here, looking for the third. 5-point strike grants her the kill.
These are the sorts of decision making that I was talking about in Champion Select. The snap re-engage coming from Lannisters, turning that fight in their favor from top 10 Dinos, really coming in clutch was that flash coming in from Kirsty to land the shockwave. Or the dissonance, rather.
At the end of it, it is top 10 Dinos that walks away a bit battered, a bit bruised, but with an Inferno Drake in their pocket still. You win some, you lose a lot there, and the Singaporean representative is still looking to hold on to this game. The advantage in favor of Urif in the top side has been neutralized right now. Rotate should be looking to pick up her next core item soon.
Yep, this Akali, 4-1 and 0 now, finally online. Gonna be looking super ferocious in the next fight. I mean, this Malzahar, your duty right now should just be lock down this Akali before she runs rampant through your team.
But the thing is, the Akali has Quicksilver Sash. That is almost a moot point if you out her. You want to suppress the Orianna right now. I think 304 is also a decent target if you want to go for CCing a particular target. Bobby here going for the trade. Wall Slam is pretty decent. Remember that she doesn't have any armor, or rather, excuse me, doesn't have any magic resist to speak of. Instead, only stacking armor.
Yeah, Poppy right now, this stage of the game, actually still doing some decent damage against Akali. The first squishy champion going against the Poppy, who, again, is running Electrocute, so this is what she wants to be doing.
Taking a look at the lane assignments, it's going to be Tawan that goes to the bot lane to catch this wave. Meanwhile, Kirsty just sits in the mid lane clearing the wave out. She's going to be on wave clear duty, whereas Rotate on the top side will be matching Amelia's Corki.
Yeah, Tawan right now, 0-1 and 3, not having the most impactful early game. Has been there for the team when it counted though. But going into the later stages of the game, you have to wonder if she should just continue building tank.
So Urif teleported to the top side, she was not seen, but that is a interesting decision to say the least. Not sure why they committed the Summoner Spell to just clearing the wave out.
Yeah, and now she has to rotate back down towards that. Actually, I think she's clearing out vision, but
still, that is teleport down, and Rotate's teleport is going to come up first. So Urif right now has sacrificed a bit of a global advantage for just short-term wave clear.
Yeah, not exactly sure what the rationale was there, but top 10 Dinos right now looking very poised to take down this mid lane tower.
Couple hits left, but will not find it. Valkyrie away. Oh, on the wrong page. Spubby jumps in. Elema and Vortex on the side have to disengage. They use the Blade Caller, will not find the route onto Tawan though. And this is what we were talking about. Sometimes Spubby goes in without calling it out, and the rest of the team has disengaged already.
Yeah, what Spubby? What was the decision making? I mean, you're already getting collapsed on, splashing in and using that wall slam. Absolutely not worth it when you know your team cannot follow up. And now that is one engage that Poppy is going to be lacking in the next fight.
Yeah, the tool to get in and close the gap will be no longer available for Spubby here.
At the moment though, we do see both teams sort of defaulting to a bit of an ARM as Rotate is just clearing out the wave at the top side. But right now, Lannisters, they don't want to allow top 10 Dinos any way to take down that mid lane turret and open up the map. And top 10 Dinos, well, they just want to force it down.
Yeah, clearing that objective off the map will grant top 10 Dinos entry into the opponent jungle. So it makes sense that Lannisters are saying, you know what, no, you're not going to take it. We're just going to sit here, siege, and die if we have to protect it. And which is why they've been concentrating so much of their forces on the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, they are backing away now though, so if they do manage to clear out this wave in a timely fashion, they actually could walk up. Not Morgana's actually going to just stay around.
Using the Tormented Soil to sort of clear the wave out. He's tried to proxy the wave so it doesn't come in.
Yeah, meanwhile in the bot lane, let's talk about this lane assignment, I think. Oh.
Using the Gunblade, but the Valkyrie with the package out. Eventually mid-tier 1 will fall, but the gold goes to no one there as there wasn't really anyone around to collect the ambient gold. Next Dragon will be spawning in 5 seconds. It's going to be the Inferno Drake, which is the next point of contention, I would believe.
Yep, huge point of contention. You can see all 5 members of Lannister now grouping up, making sure there's no chance for top 10 Dinos to get anywhere near this pit to contest that objective.
Yeah, Vayne is trying to make an entrance in. The angle isn't available, so it's going to be Lannister that claims it for themselves. And Inferno Dragon each a piece for both teams.
Yep, the advantage is now equalized. In the next fight, we should expect more damage to come across from Lannister. And from what we've already seen, they already have a ton of damage. This is just going to boost that.
Goal lead is only a meager 1,200, which is not a lot to write home about. We're not saying that either team is out of this or definitively a hit just yet. Top 10 Dinos can still claw their way into even game state. And some would argue that they are okay scaling up.
Yeah, at the moment, what I want to see though is this Xayah. I mean, 0-2-2, you only have 1 item on the board as well as your boots. You certainly want to be ramping up much faster than this, and at this rate, Kai'Sa's just gonna... She's gonna come online before you do.
Oh, speaking of come online, Yurif here, despite having an early lead, is going to get caught out. The keeper's verdict, not enough, and the QSS to remove the suppression. Yurif lives because the rest of the team joins in. But this could be an all-out brawl here as Ragnarok is used. Vayne having to flash away. The axes will follow forward, and with the flash, they get multiple members up in the air. They get the shutdown onto Yurif, and now they're chasing down onto Vayne, who will surely die with the execution on the back.
Super. Oh,
Bubby here, a bit of a weird position coming through. Risu having to flash out. Not sure if that was the best choice, but they look to re-engage on this fight. Vortex now joining in. Amelia extremely low. Tawan just chasing down, and the Lannisters are looking to clean up this fight. Bubby with the stopwatch. Maybe not the best place to use it.
we're not done yet. Oh, now we're done. Okay, that was a super messy fight from beginning to end. You saw the Corki teleport in midway through that. But the fact of the matter was that Kirsty was directly behind him. So when he collapsed, Orianna was there right behind him to collapse on them too. So overall, Lannisters do come out on top. It just swings the goal to about 2k.
Game state's still pretty even despite, you know, the small goal lead. Tawan is starting to become a force of nature in these fights. You could see in the previous one, Pop Ragnarok just ran right in and tried to get the kills for her team, leading the charge.
Yeah, perfectly played, I think that fight was for the Olaf. There's not really much to say there. I mean, you press your R, you right click, and you go.
6-1-1 now. Rotate is starting to come online as well, like you mentioned. In the previous game against Liab, Rotate was a pinnacle point for her team to succeed. And right now, 6-1-1, the Akali is a huge threat to the back line. If you're Amelia, if you're Vortex, you have to be very careful about how you approach these fights and what angles you're going to take as you join in.
Yeah, we have definitely seen a bit of disrespect thrown at the Akali throughout these fights that we've been seeing. I want to see, you know, these squishier members of top 10 Dinos just step back when they see a shroud, not walk into it.
Speaking of walk into it, inside the river here, they're going to get caught out. Amelia gets hacked by the axe and the dark binding as well. Keeper's verdict missing means that Amelia will fall. The Black Shield down, and the Ragnarok is a bit overkill, some might say, but this opens up the Baron for sure.
Yeah, Baron definitely being opened up here. Huge damage from Amelia now missing on the map as Rotate does pick up the Malzahar on the bottom side. 7-1-1 now. There's just more damage added to the back.
Now, Flash is available and so is Smite for Spubby. They could look to make a play happen here. It's down to 3.1, 2.7. They're walking in, the Dark Binding catching the jungler. Means that there might not be a window here. She flashes in, they're looking for the steal, they're trying to get it. She might get just knocked up, and no, it's gonna go the way of Tawan as the fight goes the way of Lannisters now. They pick up the jungler, they pick up the support, and only Vortex gets out alive.
Messy fights coming across the board. I think walking up too early was, you know, top 10 Dinos into that pit, but the fact of the matter was that they had to estimate the health that Baron Nashor was on because they had no vision of it. So walking in too early, very unfortunate. Giving over kills, even more unfortunate.
The double fuse Batman, but right now they're just going to run down mid tier 2. Baron buff available. The damage from the missiles are quite potent, but Amelia will not be able to clear the wave out.
At the moment, super comfortable is Lannisters. I mean, you have a huge goalie just conquering your mid tier 2 tower. The map is basically yours to play with, and at the moment you can definitely see that they understand this with the amount of vision they have around that Baron pit from earlier.
Now, this first game of the best of 3, no one was expecting the Lannister side to come in with such an overwhelmingly strong performance on their top laner. The previous game was only a taste of how Rotate was going to perform for today, and this time on the Akali, the driving force, the catalyst for the Vietnamese representatives, 7-1-3, can make a statement here.
The Thai representative.
Yes, Thai, sorry.
You can definitely see that Lannisters, yeah, they went back yesterday, they looked at the balls, they understood what they had to change, they understood what champions they could pick and perform on. And you can see them executing super well on what they've prepared today.
The AD carry is going to be in the bot side. Risu will be pushing the wave out with the Baron buff. Meanwhile, Kirsty in the mid lane just shoving the wave out as well.
Yeah, right now, it seems that top 10 Dinos, they don't really know what they can do. They really just have to be relegated to defending their base from these Baron and Powered minions because, whew, that's another objective going the side of Lannister.
Because this is a double AP solo lane composition, Baron becomes that much more powerful because of the resistance to magic damage that the buff adds. So as long as the Baron buff stays up, they should be able to push down and take structures as they will it.
Yeah, but it'll be up for a few minutes at the least, so you would think that this, this bot lane tower, as soon as Akali pushes up and contests that mid lane inhibitor tower, this bot lane tower is not long for this world.
Yeah, immediately the rotations come in, like you mentioned. Amelia is going to go and defend this against rotate. And like clockwork, bot inner turret is going to fall.
Yep, right now the next objective is, one of these inhibitor towers. You really want to crack the base before you can really call this a definite win.
It's a bit of an uphill task, literally and figuratively, because the defense is still pretty decent. It's hard for them to move up into the base and crack the turrets right now.
Yeah, but they're playing this 1-4 so well. Rotate is almost done taking that tower. It goes down in the favor of Lannister, and I don't think they're going to be able to contest it in him without finding a pick, but that's the base crack.
Base is open, mid lane inhibitor now available for the taking, and Tawan's going to rotate over, so now this is a 2 and 3 split push. Good play caller coming from Vortex to chunk rotate out, but the focus is split on mid and bot, and they will open up the bot inhibitor as well. I think Lannister's looking to regroup, might want to make a play happen, but Paddy and Kirsty still very low. Eventually rotate is going to get the mid inhibitor. Bot inhibitor now, the next focus you have to think is Urith is standing guard, watching, trying to make something happen.
You definitely have to make something happen right now, but the question is what? Baron power minions are gone now, but the fact of the matter is you still don't have enough damage to go for a fight.
Yeah, not enough damage, they concede the bot inhibitor as well. Urith was barely able to defend it, and she did not put up a fight there. The last lane left open is going to be top, and it's going to be a journey in. We can see on the mini-map, top outer, top inner, and the top inhibitor all still left standing.
Yeah, but take a look at the goal. It's 7k in the favor of Lannisters. They're looking super comfortable, they're looking super confident, and you wouldn't have to think, you don't even have to go for that top lane tower. You have 2 inhibitors down. This is a very wounded top 10 Dino squad. You can just go into the base and end the game.
Yeah, the Singaporean representatives are a bit battered, a bit bruised, but they're not going to go down without a fight. As they look to make another stand here, you can see Urith is already pathing towards the top lane, and in the jungle putting vision down is the support and the jungler.
Now take a look though, they are actually going towards that top lane tower. They want to make this as thorough of a game as possible, despite, dragging it out and giving top 10 Dinos a bit more of an opportunity to get back into this game.
Playing the neutral camps out, whereas top tier 1 will eventually fall 29 minutes in. How are they going to approach this fight? Do you want to fight inside the base or outside, Chufan? What's your call here?
My call would have already been to just force mid and bot, but now that they are on the top side, I think at this point you can just begin to, slowly push up these waves and try to get that Baron before ending the game.
Flank coming through might just materialize. A good Dark Binding will catch Urith, but because of her passive, she will not be CC'd up. You can see that it's going to be Spubby that's on defense duty, sitting on the side, not allowing any flank to come in, and Vania and Amelia just holding back in the wings, being a bit more safe.
Yeah, you can see that all 5 men are here at the top side of the map, but take a look at the Indian wave already streaming into the base. People are going to have to go defend that, which means this tower is going down.
Yeah, while they're setting the top lane waves, the bot lane and mid lane is already pushing in, and this should be the last stand here. Top 10 Dinos have to do something. They can't just roll over and play dead. As the push is coming through, Amelia gets chunked out by the command attack, and Dissonance coming through from Kirsty. You have to respect the ball moving through under your turret.
Echoes from day one, their hesitance, let's put it, to go in for a fight. Well, that being said, Lannisters haven't really been giving them an opening either, but top 10 Dinos, they're looking really, really lost right now.
Yeah, what is the call? They have to decide soon, because 30 minutes in, Lannisters banging on the last inhibitor. Moving forward, you're trying to get suppression, but not really going to find it. The shockwave catches too, and this is a disaster right now. They're moving in, they're trying to take this fight, but Spubby's tanking things up. They jump past the base gate and move in, rotate now, doing a lot of damage, looking for the perfect execution. Spubby will not go down just yet. They've already lost 2 members though, as Spubby will eventually fall. Vortex and Amelia sitting under the turret. The 280 carries for this team, but what can they do here, Tufan?
Absolutely nothing. They have no damage. They absolutely could not have gone for that fight, but we should not fault them for that. We have to credit Lannisters for forcing these, desperate plays with the amazing League of Legends that they have been displaying all game.
Vortex will be the next to fall. The Blade Hollow prolong her life, but Tawan will just leap into the base and get the kill onto Amelia. Nexus now gonna fall in game 1. You have to think in a very dominant fashion, gonna go the way of Lannisters, and they just have to hit the Nexus. And they will do so. Hello? Finish it! Please!
Oh!
No!
Oh man, triple kill coming in from the Zaya, making sure that their chances are not over yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you don't BM. This is why you finish the game.
Woo! It's still a 7k goalie, don't get me wrong. Next push should be the last. And with this last inhibitor now exposed and like what, 50 health on the Nexus, this game should be over in the next 2 minutes.
Looking to set up the defense, at least they have a couple more minutes alive. Vortex now picking up her 3 core items necessary to sort of carry this game.
Smubby.
Oh, Smubby! What are you doing, man?
Oh man, this is a suicidal Poppy.
She's gonna get spotted out here by Christy, who throws the ball into the pit, and she gets a bit more reinforcements from Vortex here. AD carry and jungle sitting along this half of the map, but there are a good amount of wards in. There's no way they're gonna get out of this one unnoticed here.
Yeah, right now Baron on the map means that Lannisters, they can just take it and just honestly just guarantee their ability to end this game out. And at this point, the question is not whether top 10 Dinos can come back in this game. The question is whether they can come back in the next game and equalize this series. Remember, it's a best of 3. There is room for adaptability.
Oh man, you're counting them out already? It's only a Baron buff left in the game to clear. I feel like Lannisters can still, or excuse me, or the top 10 Dinos can still hold on, considering that their last inhibitor is going to be spawning soon.
Certainly fair. I think with all 3 inhibitors, they can definitely try for, you know, another last stand. And certainly they do have slightly more damage. But at the end of the day, I honestly think the advantage that Lannisters already have for themselves is way too much for top 10 Dinos to come back with.
Okay, Lannisters learning from their mistakes, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Don't want to BM anymore. Just go straight for the Nexus. Eyes on the prize.
Well, the prize right now is Ocean Break for, you know, some reason, I guess. It's not going to help you do any pushing, but I guess, like you said, thoroughness is what counts here, and they're just going to pick it up before, hopefully, they try for another siege.
Top 10 Dinos a bit afraid at this point, moving around as a 4-man unit, whereas Bubby's just sitting in the jungle.
Yeah, you can tell Bubby right now is looking for, you know, the desperate play, the desperate flank, sitting very aggressively. Well, now she's backing off, but yeah, was sitting pretty aggressively right now, looking for the opportunity to go in. The
call right now, though, from Lannister is to play 1-3-1, so they send Rotate to the top side, and Kirsty in the bot to push the wave out. Note that all 3 inhibitors... Rainy here coming in with the flank. They're like trying to make something happen, but I don't think they want to look for Tawan. Ragnarok is up for the jungler. She will turn the attention over onto Vortex, who has overstepped. Here comes the teleport in. She had to use the Firestorm super preemptively here, as Rotate will jump back in. The Shockwave only catching a single member. It's going to be Europe that falls. Spubby in the center, tanking people up and using the wall slam to keep themselves alive. Top 10 Dinos might be able to turn this fight around. They have to see where the damage is, and top 10 Dinos will eventually fall, though, as Risu T just jumps in with the killer instinct. It went from good to bad in an instant, and now Lannister, no doubt about it, will be able to close this game out.
Yeah, Vayne saw 3v5, decided to go for it, but unfortunately Lannisters with the response very instantly made it a 5v5 with a ton of damage that they had, and they do end the game.
And it's game 1 going the way of the representatives from Thailand. Remember, this is a best of 3 right now, and Singapore still has every opportunity to battle back and make it a 2-1.
Yep, definitely have to go back to the drawing board. You have to think, hey, do we ban this pick that has been so difficult to deal with, like the Akali, like the Olaf? Are these picks that you really want to deal with again in game 2?
I am going to clarify something. The fact that they shook hands does not mean that the game is over. They're just extremely sportsmanlike guys, so yeah, let's just clarify that for now. I'm not sure if we will be doing an interview for game 1, but I believe at the end of the series, we will definitely have an interview for you with the winning team, I believe. So for now, guys, we will be going for a short break. And when we come back, we'll have game 2 for you in just a second.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the FSL Elite. We're currently going into game number 2 of a best of 3 series with Lannisters versus top 10 Dinos. I'm Smooth, he's Hungry, and we should be getting a game very soon.
Yeah, after a very dominant game 1 performance, I say dominant, well, it was largely off the back of a very impressive top lane performance from Rotate, and this is a storyline that's starting to sound like a broken record, but she has been this sturdy rock for the team. Every time she does well, you know, we do see Lannisters pushing ahead, and right there's your head-to-head right now. Lannister up 1-0 against the Singapore representatives, top 10 Dinos. I'm excited to see game 2.
I am very excited to see game 2 as well. Do you think the Akali gets banned?
I feel like there's so many things you have to worry about that Akali is the last thing on your mind. I think you opt for a better draft of your own as opposed to removing your opponent's sort of favorite or preferred champions.
I really do like the fact that they have brought out these new picks, right? I like that. I like the fact that they've taken Rotate off Rise duty and placed her on something more high impact earlier on in the game.
The thing about Lannister is when you talk to the people on the team and the manager, they were so hardworking and driven when it came into FSL Elite. I was sharing this story with Riku earlier yesterday. When they arrived, they did their their interviews, their media day, and everything. But when they had the free day, they actually went to a LAN shop to practice. And I think it was like somewhere near Kakabo. They went to play LAN and they went to sort of get the drafts down, get the coordination right. And that's not something you see very often. The fact that you come here for a tournament and you spend zero time relaxing, you literally just play and make sure you rest and eat well. Yeah,
100% agree. I think yesterday, just a bit of on-stage jitters, but today we've really seen them come out of the gates swinging. Taking game one off top 10 dinos, my personal favorite would be second, so this is quite a surprise for me.
Honestly, it is to be expected considering that a lot of them are playing for the first time on stage, and it is a bit of a issue with nerves sometimes when you come in. And looking at the brackets for today, looking at the lower brackets in particular, you will see top 10 dinos going up against Lannister. One up the representatives from Thailand, and first to two are the ones that will take this and advance forward into the winner bracket finals or upper bracket finals. For now, though, we are focused on the lower bracket because it's from then on we will decide and find out who hits in to play against Box Gaming, who have secured their spot earlier today.
Yeah, that is a whole nother beast, I think. But at the moment, we're focused on top 10 dinos and Lannister. What was your opinion? Do you think top 10 dinos, they can come back?
I am more dependent on seeing their draft this time. Fair. I feel like top 10 dinos are very limited in scope sometimes in terms of what to draft because they have a playstyle that they do prefer, and that is their key to victory sometimes. So sometimes also they do end up tunneling on these picks.
I think one more thing that we have to call into question is Smubby's let's call it happiness to just go in and
eagerness, happiness.
It's a happy game. She just jumps in randomly, even without backup from her team, not even notifying her team really.
I feel like if you want to play those champions, it's better just to default to meta and play something like Jarvan Sejuani. The ability to jump in and at least soak damage. There's a reason why those champions are so popular in the global meta sense of the word.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't. But the thing with these champions, right, is you can go in, but you can't get out. So I think the real thing that we have to look at is for Smubby to not do that really. I think she has to tone it down a little bit, wait for her team to say, okay, let's all go in together before she flash engages.
Right, yeah, I think the turning point, or at least one of the examples of this was, I think in the mid lane in the previous game where her team was literally running out, like two people turned around and fled. And she decided, it's time to go in. She flashed and tried to knock someone to the wall.
Luckily, she walked away from that, but it could have been so much worse.
And to be honest, if you are going to play that playstyle, maybe it's better to just go Aftershock instead. Don't go Electrocute. If you are, in dead set on landing CC, go for Aftershock for the additional resistances. It might help you a bit more. But now, guys, Game 2 has kicked off. We see the Aatrox first ban coming from top 10 dinos. No difference from the previous bans. The Kayn as well is going to be replicated from Game 1, so no difference there as well. Smubby's Kayn is quite a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Kayn taken off board, definitely not want to give that to Smubby at all. And Aatrox, I think they're just going to continue banning, the high-impact top laners from Rotate. Not really want to get her on, something comfortable.
Fiora, the second ban, so top 10 dinos not really varying or changing up their bans all too much this time.
Yeah, at the moment, one thing I want to call into question regarding the draft though is whether or not you put Amelia back on the Corki. I think Corki is something, sure, it's in the outer edges of her wheelhouse, but I think you need something more impactful earlier on in the game, like the Ahri, the Syndra, which is now left on the table if they want to pick it.
The Syndra left on the table, they will go ahead and ban the Akali out, so this is the response to your answer whether they're going to leave that one open. They're not leaving the Zoe open either, so Amelia, however, will have access to the Ahri if she wants to pick it. Early picking Ahri is a bit of a statement. It's pretty much saying I'm not afraid of your counter picks, but also that I'm confident enough to do well. With the Nautilus left open though, Vayne might just lock that in for her team.
Yeah, Vayne really likes her Nautilus. I don't think we saw anything too stand out in the previous game. Nope, they're actually going to go for the Jarvan. Right. So you're correct, Bobby's going to go more standard now.
So this makes sense because if you're going to go in, what better way to announce your decision than with Jarvan, right? Flag and Drag Cataclysm is almost always a for sure thing. You can make that fight happen that way. This Jarvan in the jungle, however, does leave the Poppy open in response. So I don't think Tawan does play that Poppy. However, I'll see if they do go for that. Aurelia, Jack's just hovering a couple of things, but Renekton open means that Yurif might be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, we saw this Renekton being super high impact in the previous game. No, 2 games ago.
Two games ago, yeah.
Yeah, and they are going to pick up the Elise here. No, they're going for... Oh man, they're going to bamboozle me. I'm just going to let that stay for a moment. But
no, but with the Renekton open and Yorick not being banned in the first round, what they could do here is, you know, have Smubby pick up the Elise this time and hand it... not Elise, right, excuse me, the Yorick this time and hand it over to Yurif. In that regard, at least you have the Yorick-Renekton matchup, which isn't too bad for either of them.
That is a pike cover. I'm being debated. They're doing this to me again.
It's like you don't learn from your lesson, man. I mean, they hover and you just jump on it and you eat the bait.
I want to see a pike. I'm just super duper excited. But the Thresh locked in here for Vayne. We saw her land do pretty well on this champion earlier. My question for her was whether or not she is able to land these hooks, but the fact that she was able to find those important picks for her team earlier on in the day tells me that, yeah, sure, she can play this champion, and it is a good pick for the team.
Okay, so the Thresh coming in might just be the cannon here in response to the Renekton, and this is a range versus melee matchup. Yurif did play the cannon yesterday, and I was joking about how her impact was largely teamfight focused and not so much in the lane.
Yeah,
so just be content farming up.
Yeah, the point that you brought across earlier was that now that they pick up the cannon, they show that they want to play the team fight, and I think this you're gonna make you happy because they do pick cannon blue, so it's gonna be a pretty safe lane. It's something that Yurif tends to do when she's taken off the Yorick.
Yeah, cannon blue has the ability to just auto attack consistently against the Renekton, and even though you draw creep pressure, you're okay pushing up because the only avenue to get ganked is through the river. And especially against Elise, as long as you know where the angle is, you will be able to dodge away. It's very one-directional. It's very telegraphed in that sense. Braum here being locked in for Paddy. This is the first time we've seen Braum all FSL Elite, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. It's not a pick that we've seen very commonly. And right now, what do you really pick with this Braum? I think Varus is definitely a good option right here. Especially into the Thresh, you have significantly more damage than, say, the Sivir. Range than the Sivir, so it makes you much safer in the laning phase.
If you are greedy, you could actually go for the Lucian Braum bot lane. It's strong and high kill potential, and yeah, there you go. So they ban it out immediately. I was thinking because that lane is so good in not only pressuring out the Thresh plus whatever, it also facilitates ganks in the bot lane as well as mid when the Braum roams up.
It does force them to take themselves off the Lucian as well. Lucian Thresh, obviously a very good lane, but Vortex has not shown to be a sort of player that plays the Lucian, so I think that she's just going to default back to the Xayah. The question is whether you try to ban her out right now if you're Lannister.
Xayah might just be left open still as the Ahri is going to be banned out here.
So that is the Ahri taken off the board for Amelia. You have to question whether she goes for the Syndra right now. One of those high impact early game lane mages that we're talking about.
Syndra extremely important in terms of the priority for both teams, but because they are on the red side, I feel like top 10 dinos, if they pick the Syndra, yeah, there you go, you should ban it. If you pick the Syndra, you're gonna get debated because then Lannisters have the option to counter pick.
Definitely fair. We're gonna see they should pick the, if they're gonna save, you know, last pick for that counter pick, they definitely should just pick up the AD carry here.
Yep.
I'm still on the Varus hype train.
I do like the Varus as well because that gives a bit more on-demand CC. It's very reliable when you open with the Chains of Corruption into the Glacial Fissure. In this case, it's going to be the Xayah, which is also a denial pick from Vortex. We've only really seen her play Kai'Sa and Xayah.
Oh, please don't go to Vayne. No. We've seen in the Filipino qualifier, right? The fact that, you know, when you're tilted and you play Vayne, it's not good. I mean, you already lost 2-0. I think that team lost 2-0 against Liab.
Yeah, picking Vayne as a last resort may not be the best idea, but instead they go for the Orianna this time. And this is a teamfight composition. We're not surprised that they go for the Orianna. They probably do want something to supplement that ability to teamfight, right? Twitch was hovered, and the way Twitch brings value to these teamfights is if you hold people in place with the Cataclysm, with the Slicing Maelstrom, you can actually contribute with the Spray and Pray. But in this case, Jinx is going to be the answer.
Yep, Jinx here. Jinx Thresh actually quite a strong lane as well, but when you're playing this lane with this hyper carry, you have to see Vortex Vayne step up. This is a point I've been driving a lot of these games. We've yet to see them really have a lot of impact. They haven't been really the MVP lane of their team in their victories, and they really have to be that lane if they want to win this game.
Yeah, so far not responsible 100% for any of their victories. It's been a bit tricky for Vortex and Vayne this time, but oh, mid lane is going to be the Lissandra, most likely the Aftershock Lissandra, and oh man, this is tough. Going to the Orianna, this is tough because you're gonna get outranged, you're gonna get outpushed, and if you do go for Aftershock, you literally have like zero chance to proc in lane.
Here's my question. You pick Lissandra if you're up against an assassin in lane so you can shut her down, but against the Orianna, like you said, you get outranged, you're just going to give over priority over the top 10 dinos. I'm questioning whether or not this was worth saving the last pick in this pick and ban phase.
So here's my response. If you were going to play something like Lissandra, might as well play Galio, right?
Yeah.
You have global pressure, you are a bit more tanky, and you still have the ability to wave clear. You just don't lose prio that much. I feel like Lissandra has dipped off a lot in terms of value after the nerf bat has pretty much swung to her head. At this point, it's a suboptimal pick, and we might just find top 10 dinos finding a equalizing match point here with this draft.
You might wonder, because like we were discussing earlier, the Syndra ban, right? So you might be wondering, maybe Lannisters, they were the ones who wanted to pick up Syndra, but the fact that top 10 dinos, they banned it,
yeah,
that really just threw them off, and now they have to settle for Lissandra.
If they got Syndra here, it would have been a perfect counter pick against the Orianna. It would have given them so much lane prio as well. Not to mention, if you 2v2, I don't think Sbubby and Amelia will be comfortable playing Lissandra into Elise.
Yeah, at the moment though, you do have to look at top 10 dinos now. They are the ones without a significant tank. You have the Ken who can jump in, and then Zhonya's, but you don't really have this front line that you can play around. So defending this Jinx is going to be so important for this Thresh in these later
would
game
actually
fights.
hesitate to say that Sbubby here would most likely go for the Cinderhawk tank Jarvan. Like, that's normally the go-to nowadays when you see Jarvan players. You go for a Conqueror into a Cinderhawk tank Jarvan with the challenging smite, so you're tanky and you still deal decent amount of damage with the challenging smite. That's the most default option. If you're extremely greedy, which is not out of the question because she's done it in the past, you can go Electrocute, you can go Warrior Enchantment with Chilling Smite, go for the upfront burst. In that sense, sure, you have no tank at all. That's their preference. I could see how Sbubby might go that way, but the smart way to play this one out is to be the frontline tank, go for a Conqueror into Cinderhawk.
Yeah, we all know Sbubby likes to go in, but this game, like you said, she has to play a little bit smarter, go for the tank build if she wants to be, you know, the huge contribution to her team in these later game fights.
And the response here, Elise Tawan is most likely going to go for the all-in damage build, Electrocute, Historic Boots, as well as the Runic Echoes upgrade. I feel like the bot lane is where a lot of this pressure is going to lie, because Renekton into Cannon, it's kind of risky if you want to go for the 2v2, whereas Xayah, Braum, and Jinx Thresh all have tools to ensure that CC sticks.
Yeah, I think, well, the real question right now, continuing the point from earlier, is that Vortex and Vayne, they have to get a hit. And with this early game jungler in the form of Elise on the side of Lannisters, if Xayah and Braum, they manage to, you know, set up a good gank for the Elise to come in and shut down this bot lane for top 10 dinos, it can prove to be super disastrous. Yeah,
the standard combo in this bot lane is going to be like Winter's Bite into auto, and the moment you do land the stun, it's a window for you to land a Blade Caller root as well, so Chain CC is a very real threat here in this bot lane for Lannister. Whereas if you're top 10 dinos, you have to play a bit more defensively. I think the Lantern is going to be crucial here in not only defending against ganks, but making sure ganks happen for you.
Keep in mind, among the most standard junglers, I think Jarvan is, you know, sort of the worst at counter ganking, and perhaps Sejuani will have better here. But on your screen right now, I'm going to hold that point. You do see the lineups head to head for top 10 dinos versus Lannister.
Yeah, one up are Lannister. If they take this game, they will be proceeding on to the finals. But for now, let's cut to a video showcasing both teams during their media day here in Singapore. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, match point here. Singapore's last chance to defend themselves. Take this to a game 3. It's all or nothing here. If they lose, unfortunately, they will not be proceeding on to the winners finals. So it's all on the line here for top 10 dinos.
Yep. One thing we want to bring attention to is the fact that, hey, earlier we were talking, they're actually going for level 1 cheese here, but
Winter's Bite is going to catch Vortex in the back, but she will be able to walk out. Doesn't have to use the summoner spell, so that's a small win for top 10 dinos who get full information of where the invade came in from.
Yep, Buffy right now going for the Conqueror build instead of Electrocute shows to me that she is in fact going for, you know, a more defensive build. She might actually just go for the tank route like we were talking about.
Yeah, it's generally the most approved build if you look on the win percentages of multiple stat sites, and coming through, the junglers are just going to path to opposite sides of the map. Bubby here will be starting on red, and Wan's Elise on her own red as well.
Yeah, Tawan here actually being spotted out, so they have full information on where this Elise is starting. But I'm pretty sure nobody saw that Jarvan walk down towards red.
The only way you see Jarvan is if Spubby decides to path towards the Raptors, in which case it's a fuse bad. But very early on already, the traits belonging to Kirsty as she dodges away from the command attack.
Yeah, this lane, Amelia should definitely be very comfortable just pushing up Lissandra away from the way back towards the turret. So priority definitely going early in favor of Amelia.
But the junglers here faked like they leashed. The Risa and Paddy arrived to lane late, and right now, even though it was faked out, top 10 dinos should know that Elise is on the top side.
Yeah, top side. This signals to me that they might want to go for a bit of a gank. Because honestly, like I said, I think in the game previously, if you go for these runs after red and you go for another camp, you're just really wasting time. So if you don't go for a gank right now, which is going to be very difficult against Enel, you're just wasting time on the map that you could be used creating pressure elsewhere.
Tawan is going to rotate over to the Raptors and then move to bot half. Meanwhile, Vayne trying to land a hook is going to sail past. Paddy just kiting away. Sekai is more like a dodge, and meanwhile, early advantages going the way of rotating the top side. Despite this being arranged into melee matchup, Urif did go for the Kleptomancy. Which is a bit greedy if you ask me. Meanwhile, coming with the flank, the gank coming through Spubby. Oh man, the Flash was in a terrible position, but she will be able to slice out.
Yeah, but you know, there's just a flash burn on this top laner, which is going to be very...
Great hook landing and play back in, but the winner's fight is going to throw the damage across over onto Vayne. Blade Caller not up just yet. Risu will be able to throw damage across onto Vayne and punish them for landing the hook.
Yep, decent damage. A bit late on the Flame Chompers was the Jinx, so we didn't manage to catch anybody else. You have to be faster on that when the Thresh hook lands to guarantee that CC.
Another hook out from Vayne, this time connecting with a minion. That's not who you want.
Both junglers actually spotting each other out here at that bottom side with Scuttle, but since Orianna does have priority, is able to walk down and just upper Jarvan as he picks up this objective.
Like we predicted in the mid lane, the advantage already going the way of Amelia considering her range discrepancy. She's up in CS, she's going to be able to recall early and maybe cheat a buy timing out. You can see this is a massive wave that's being stacked up. She can just push and back off if she wants to.
Yeah, you were talking about the the 4-minute window where you can just shoot a recall and be back in time for that mix. It's definitely looking like she can do that, but we see a mix ball.
Stand behind me used to jump back, and now they're turning their attention over onto Vayne once more. Flame Chompers a bit late, like you mentioned, not really landing the CC that they need. Oh, help. Stun landing, had to be very careful about her positioning here.
Yeah, this is the range versus melee matchup at the top side. Urif right now definitely in a stronger position to just continue poking out the Crocodile, forcing him back. And now he is, and now Rotate is definitely going to use PQ.
Finally landing the hook again, and they move forward aggressively this time. Paddy is not afraid once the Unbreakable goes up. Remember that it does mitigate a lot of the damage coming through. So to be happy taking the trade. Meanwhile, on the top side, the Chunk. Rotate gets the kill credit, and that's first blood. I think Urif is going to be in a whole world of hurt now as this lane progresses on.
Yeah, this is the second time in this series, I think, that we've seen, you know, the top laner using teleport comeback, immediately engaging.
Cocoon landing onto Spubby. She gets the shield from Amelia, but will be able to back off.
Yeah, Amelia doing herself lots of favors right now, continuing to push up with Sandra, forcing the priority so that she can cover.
Oh, this is a bit of a mistake. They overreached down. A lot of damage down. They have to use the heal and the flash as well. Paddy still moving forward with the winner's bite, trying to land the passive down. Ope the slow. Pretty good damage still, though. Risu just chasing down. She does have the flash, but she will not go for it. Remember that he was used very early on, and it's just a solo AD carry pushing up this lane, looking for the kills.
Super dangerous. You could see Vayne was walking back up after dropping so low. It could have been disastrous if she got caught out there. But luckily for them, Lannister did not want to commit.
This lane is not working in favor of top 10 dinos at all. Every time they land a hook, the traits still go in favor of Lannister because of the Unbreakable from Braum. Paddy and Risu, the sisters in the bot lane, great communication and synergy in playing this lane out.
Yeah, you definitely have to see a more favorable engage from Vayne before Vortex can get herself a hit. Right now, obviously the Jinx comes online much slower than Desire does so. What that means is Jinx has to get a few more kills under her belt before she can be impactful in team fights.
Either kills or turret gold from platings or any source of economic acceleration would be good, because she's going to wait for 3 items before she powers up, whereas Risu is going to be comfortable with 2, right? So a big wave pushing up. You can see that Rotate is here because the number of caster minions signal that is going to be shoving forward. But with that Call the Meek, it's going to drastically reduce the pushing potential of this wave.
Yeah, Jarvan is nowhere near this lane, so luckily for Yurif, Rotate has been pushing up pretty well, playing pretty safe. But all this does is it sets up for Tawan to go for a lane gang when these minions bounce back.
Oh man, Yurif, she doesn't know there's a spider inside the brush. Arachnophobia at its worst. Yurif has to be careful of the angle on the side. She's just kiting in the slice burst and the stun. A great layering of CC, and they should be able to clean this one off. The Dominus just for safe measure, and Rotate finds a second kill.
Very patient play coming from the Elise, sitting there for the best part of 10 seconds as they look for the optimal play to go in on Yurif. And when that cocoon landed, I guarantee you the thought was, where did that come from?
Yeah, where did that come from? Snuck into the brush. A spider in her natural habitat, but because they did see the Elise on the top side, this opens up the Dragons. Bubby and Vayne are going to start and activate this objective. Look to claim it for themselves.
It's a Cloud Drake, not much impact to map with once you take them, but it's a decent chunk of gold going on inside the top 10 Dinos. Vortex and Vayne, well, they definitely need the help.
They do need the help indeed. Meanwhile, the mid lane Amelia is really bullying Kirsty out. Like I said, you don't really get a chance to proc Aftershock at all in this lane. And there's no respect being shown whatsoever from Amelia. Normally when you play against Lissandra, you want to take Cleanse to avoid the CC from Frozen Tomb. In this case, she knows the matchup is heavily favored towards Orianna, goes for the teleport instead, and still manages to come out ahead.
Yeah, Amelia definitely understanding that, hey, I'm in a favorable matchup here. I'm just gonna bully you around the lane, and we have to give props to Lissandra here, actually not falling that far behind in this unfavorable laning phase.
Yeah, the top lane is still doing work while she absorbs a lot of the pressure here. She's getting beaten down, but is still holding strong. Her value in these fights is going to be the on-demand CC that she brings, right? Ring of Frost and Frozen Tomb, key when it comes to team fighting.
And this hook, Vayne has been trying overtime right now to continue looking for opportunities to get her AD carry a hit. But unfortunately, I think they had an opportunity earlier on in the game, but unfortunately, Flame Chompers did not come down early enough.
Yeah, they missed 2 or 3 windows for kills there. It's going to come back and bite them in the rear later on. Cursing themselves that they couldn't snowball in the bot lane by themselves. Meanwhile, the junglers are going to be doing the buffs here. Bubby with the timing on the blue buff will rotate over and steal her opponent's blue buff, whereas Tawan is going to do her own red buff. It's going to be given over to Amelia, in fact.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, Elise actually picked up the blue buff from the blue side of the jungle, so that is just equalizing, a buff advantage that Lannisters they had for themselves previously.
Yeah, but the blue buff in the pocket of the Orianna is infinitely more valuable than that of the Elise, so this just makes Kirsty's lane just that much harder, right, in the mid lane.
Yep, Amelia now looking super happy to just sit in lane, continue to push up, and we have to continue looking at her to be, the main catalyst for the success of this team. I want to see her, have one of those pop-up performances like we saw on the Zoe.
Oh, top lane 2 members coming in for this gank. Dominus used very preemptively slicing Maelstrom. Might not be enough here as the turret is going to turn over, but a great repel keeps her up in the air. And now they have to be careful. A great flash from the shockwave. Down to a sliver of health, Rotate manages to flash out, and this has been terribly misplayed. Oh! From downtown, the rocket connects, and now they're chasing on for more. The distance slowing Kirsty down, the speed boost on the back. They might just find the second one here. Amelia, can she play this one out? She finds the second, she's looking for the third here. A bit more, might just get it. Auto attacks and a shutdown. The mid laner comes up big for top 10 Dinos.
As I said, Amelia begins to step up for her team, finding an easy 2v1 kill, cleaning up the back of that team fight, finding now a 500 gold lead.
They're chasing on for more in the bot lane, jumping forward with the stand behind me, but overextending. Remember that the red buff did go the way of the Jinx after she flashed. Oh, hold on here, Glacial Prison in. Stopwatch to keep her alive, and a Blade Caller will not do anything now. Everyone is converging on the bot lane. They need the resets. Vortex gets excited. They're chasing in. A great turnaround coming in. Tawan has to be careful, and so does Risu. They're still trying to get the resets, but the Blade Caller is more than enough. Bubby there, overextending just a little bit. You didn't respect the Xayah and you went down.
That's a double kill coming in from the Jinx already now, and Infinity Edge completed. This is exactly what you want. Sure, she dies, but the advantage she picked up is going to make her so much more impactful in these upcoming fights.
Consider that an express trip back to the fountain, right? She still holds her bounty, she can't get a buy in, and now she's going to reset in the bot lane with her Infinity Edge, like you mentioned.
A lot of carnage happening across the map. It looks like both these teams, they finally found the go button. They really want to go in for each other's throats, but it's been pretty back and forth. Top 10 Dino so far holding the lead.
This game is living up to my expectations here. I think Lannister coming in game 1, super dominant in their performance, but Top 10 Dino is not going down without a fight. They know this is match point, and they have to pull out all the stops.
Yep, Orianna now pushing up a little far, does not have backup from anyone. Could be flanked by both Braum and Lysandra here.
Yeah, pay attention to mid lane coming in with the flank. It's going to be the Braum, but a good chunk onto Christie. She uses the Glacial Path forward, landing the winner's bite already, and the stun coming through. But do they have enough damage? Because the Frozen Tomb seems like it's not enough. The Shockwave buys some space, and it could turn this one around. Swabby coming in, doesn't have the Cataclysm, but a missile once more! Is she using an aimbot? How is she landing these? My goodness!
Aimbot indeed. You have to start questioning, oh my word, how is she landing these rockets? Super impactful, and we have to praise Amelia, even though she did get caught out, was able to, with her fancy footwork, just get out and put down enough damage for them to come back.
Vortex is so good at ADC, she doesn't even get leads in her lane. That's next level ADC, man. You just missile and rocket the mid lane.
Nice beam. Right, meanwhile in the top lane, we do begin to see, rotate with these advantages against the 0-2-1 cannon come back, able to begin running at the opposing lane and putting down chunks of damage.
If you're playing a teamfight composition, right, this is what you do want. A lot of your goal being centered on the main DPS, the carry of your team, and then the rest being spread around enough so that they can sort of withstand the damage, arrive in fights and still do their job, buying space for Vortex. I think they might have heard you, Chufan, earlier when you said that this bot lane for top 10 Dinos hasn't been stepping up. It's time for 1-0. Vortex wants to make a name for herself here. You're running away with the speed boost, and the Cocoon is going to connect. You have to think that this is a guaranteed kill once the CC follows up.
0-3-1 in Europe right now. You're not looking pretty good, but the main story right now is the 3-1-0 Renekton. This is going to be very devastating if he's able to find a flank onto the back.
Speaking of flank, the Glacial Path is going to get Kirsty out in the mid lane. Ultimate connected, but this is going to buy them space for the Rift Herald to be jammed down in mid lane, and the turret plate as well. There's another 30 seconds still, so they should be able to claim the gold here.
Tower should actually be going down with this charge. Yep, the siege successful. Now one turret going down in favor of top 10 Dinos. They have control around the map now. Should begin to move up their
But look at the map, because everything is split right now. There are two members of Lannister top side. The turret, the Rift Herald is going to get a second charge off in the mid lane and die soon after. So this is a relatively valuable play if you think about how the Rift Herald was used.
Yeah, the fact that that mid-tier 2 tower was shut down to 25%. It's looking pretty fragile right now with another siege from top 10 Dinos. If Lannister just isn't looking, that turret could go down as well.
They had the timing on the first blue buff, and now they're looking to make the play happen on the second one. Eurif is teleporting into the bot lane, and this is heavy commitment into claiming bot outer turret. Lannister is looking to defend this here, but they don't have the positioning just yet. Look at your minimap. Kirsty is far away. She has teleport, but are they in position to defend?
Alright, they do manage to pick up that turret. Now they have priority over that Cloud Drake. That's going to be 2 Cloud Drakes, more useful than one, obviously. So, for one, whew.
Wow, that hurts. No magic resistance to speak of on Tawan. She's going to get chunked out by a QW combo, and this should be Cloud Drake picked up for top 10 Dinos.
Honestly, I haven't seen Orianna do this much damage in ages. Where does Amelia keep finding these chunks of damage? First on the Zoe, now on the Orianna.
It's synonymous with this player, right? Being able to chunk people across walls. You think Amelia, you think death from a wall. Right, now regrouping our top 10 Dinos. The goal lead is not really that large to speak of. It's only 3.5, give or take, slightly less.
Now the only tower left remaining is that top side for Lannister. Still looking pretty healthy because, Rotate was pretty ahead against this cannon.
Yeah, they would manage to commit a good deal of attention to the top side. Tawan was responsible for snowballing the Renekton, who is still a big factor in this game. I'm not sure if Eurif can answer the split push of the Renekton just yet. Rotate sitting in the side lane, the bot lane now rather.
But the thing with Yorick, right, is when she picks up these range matchups, because she doesn't have the Yorick, she's just looking to play, she's not looking for high impact in the lane. But on the other hand, Rotate now 3-1 and 0, the main playmaker on the side of Lannister. I want to see what she's able to do with this lead, if she's able to flank and get in the backline and just lead that Jinx.
If Renekton finds a window to solo kill Yurith, that actually opens up the map a bit more, because suddenly you have to commit Spubby down to this 1v1. You have to start calling Vayne over to supplement the push. So all eyes on the top laner right now for Lannister to make a statement and at least pull the pressure off the rest of her team.
Yeah, a bit of a lane swap right now coming in from both teams. Orianna against Melisandre. Pretty favorable matchup for her, now forced into a top side. Meanwhile, Renekton is contesting Cannon at the bottom.
Glacial Path was used by Kirsty to get out. That missile is not going to find its target this time, but the Glacial Fissure is going to disconnect this fight. The Chompers will find multiple members as the Featherstorm is used preemptively. They're backing off and leaping forward. Oh, the Shockwave only catches one. The second one up in the air is going to come down soon, and it will go down as well. Ball squishes the Spider, and now they have a small window to push up mid lane.
Amelia and Vortex, they're really doing work right now. Look pretty dangerous coming in with those feathers. The Blade Caller not exactly finding any kills, so they do manage to pick up 2 kills and the mid-tier 2 tower.
Meanwhile, Rotate is still pushing the bot tier 1 down. They concede a lot of the strength in the mid and top side to buy some space for this Renekton to get bigger.
Feels very unfortunate if you're Rotate right now. I mean, you're strong, but the rest of your team is just crumbling around you, and the enemy team, you're strong enough to the point where you can't go in and delete them by yourself.
I want you to recall that it was this Renekton performance though that allowed Lannister to sort of push into the state that they're in right now. The second game for today, the losers bracket, that was pretty much the elimination match. It was Rotate's Renekton with 3 items, you know, that powered forward and carried them. The Black Cleaver, Spear of Shojin, and Guardian Angel was the tipping point for Lannister. Maybe Rotate might get to that point this time where she can start to put the team on her back, because Kirsty is only good for CC at this point. It's just a utility Lissandra, and Risu is behind the item curve.
Yep, right now it's only about a 5k gold, no 4k gold deficit for Lannister. By no means insurmountable, they can definitely come back. They just have to look for the opportunities to do so, and right now, since they're split out so far around the map, you don't have that teamfight opportunity to go in. You have to look for those sorts of fights where you can't pile on one member.
They show path out, but it's not really going to open enough distance for her to get out. Here comes the Flag and Drag, the flash out from Kirsty. She get a save, but a great death sentence. Literal as it is, will send her into the gray screen and the rocket for good measure.
Yeah, just making sure she doesn't get out. But Vayne today, with these hooks on Thresh, we've been questioning whether she can play anything other than Nautilus, and she is definitely showing up right now.
And not just that, but the top lane and mid lane as well has been quite instrumental in this game. Yurif, sure, you know, took a lot of the pressure, but she's finally hit that point where it's Zhonya's hourglass. She can start joining these fights. And for the Orianna, it's an instant death cap after the Luden's Echo to make her shockwaves feel more impactful in these 5v5s.
Yep, and with Lissandra did, what that means is top lane power is now going in favor of top 10 Dinos, extending their goal lead as Yurif actually will manage to keep this tower alive.
Yeah, just by a sliver of health, but I don't think she should be stepping up here. Rotate should be able to claim it and maybe even dive her after that. You see a simple Kodamik, keep the wave shoved up. Now Dragon is going to be spawning in 25 seconds, and it's going to be an Ocean Drake, right? So yep. I'm not sure how much either team is going to put into contesting this objective.
It's still a Drake, still can help you out, and Tawan's going to get found out here.
Doesn't even want to take the 1v1. Will just back off up to the connect on. Oh, Yurif flashing with the slicing maelstrom. The repel is going to keep Tawan up in the air for a second longer. The Flag and Drag is going to knock her up as well. And the Spider overstepping her boundary will get caught out in the river. No jungler equals no dragon, and Lannister will have to default the objective away.
Yeah, Tawan overstepping just a little too much right there. Thinking she had, you know, backup coming in from the rest of the team when she saw Spubby, but she did just get popped and killed.
Top 10 Dinos thinking bigger, outside the box. Forget the Dragon, we won the kills, we won the Baron. They're going on Rotate now, the biggest member of Lannisters. With 2 members down, you shouldn't have face checked that, and this should be the Baron here for top 10 Dinos.
And that's your playmaker, your greatest damage threat on Lannister taken care of. Like you said, this opens up Baron for the taking for top 10 Dinos. And Tawan, he's nowhere near here. They do not have smite to contest this.
Vayne on defense duty this time is going to catch Paddy there, and it's going to be a simple secure on the Baron. Great job by top 10 Dinos to get the objective for themselves and power forward by another 7,000 gold.
Yeah, this gold lead has just ballooned massively in the past few minutes, suddenly looking a lot harder for Lannister to find any sort of way back into this game.
A rocket was shot at the dragon to sort of find a simple pickup, but did not see the objective there, meaning that it's gone. Now Amelia walking in the jungle alone is very brave of her here. She's still looking though, you can see the pings down. She wants to cut off the retreat coming in from Kirsty. She has the death cap available. She is able to chunk out this Lissandra, who's going to use the Frozen Tomb in a clutch time to be able to get out. But I think the hook here, finally missing one. Play back in. Kirsty should be going down here.
Yeah, Fancy Footwork not going to save you there, Kirsty, as you do nothing against the damage that the Orianna did bring to that fight.
And with Baron empowered minions pushing up, Yurif is feeling pretty confident with her posse of minions.
Yeah, right now they're playing the 1-4 with Yurif pushing up that top side like we said. They shouldn't take that tower on top side, but this opens up an opportunity for them to just cram that bot lane tower around it. With no Renekton Seeker.
Another day in the office here for top 10 dinos as they, would chunk down onto Vayne. He has to be careful about her positioning. Well, like I said, close to 8,000 gold lead now for top 10 dinos. Just another day in the office pushing forward.
Doesn't look like they're going to reset actually. They're playing the 1-3-1. Jinx is going to siege their bot side tower.
A wasted glacial fissure being used right there from Paddy to try and find a pick, and this opens up bot here, bot inhibitor turret like you mentioned.
Yeah, that is the base race. Very smart macro play coming in from top 10 dinos, knowing where to put each member of their team to maximize the efficiency against these turrets.
Speaking of efficiency, they're moving over to mid inhibitor turret now. And they will land the hook. Not really looking to pull a trigger just yet. To get excited though. As Vortex jumps in, a good flash to dodge away from the shockwave. There are multiple big ticket ultimates down already. I don't think top 10 dinos want to stick around. Yeah,
and this is the stage of the game from yesterday where we began to question what top 10 dinos were doing. Why weren't they continuing to engage? And hopefully we don't see that again. I want to see top 10 dinos understand how far they are ahead and look for another good fight to end the game.
Resetting and getting their next set of buys in already. It's going to be a Giant's Belt picked up for the jungler, who's going to get a bit more tanky. A Proto Belt done for Yurith, and meanwhile the AD carry here, Vortex, is just looking for a bit more crit and attack speed in the form of the Zeal. Fire 0 and 5, Amelia has the additional Blasted Wand, so it's going to be amplified by the Death Cap even more. It's just AP on top of more AP. She's sitting at 425 right now.
Yeah, it feels bad, man, if you're opposing her. I mean, it's Lissandra 0-4 and 0 with Balloon and Lewin Echo. He does not get to play League of Legends. He's basically a non-factor in this game at this point.
But we called this out early during Champ Select. The Lissandra was a bad pick coming in.
It was a counter pick.
You tried to counter pick, you misread it. The situation was not as such. The Orianna will be demolishing the Lissandra, right?
Yep. Alright, at the moment, Baron should be running out soon, but they've already taken so many turrets across the board.
Oh man, leaping forward, zoom, but not really finding the target. The hook is not going to connect either. The cocoon though will land onto Vayne, but this is a small tool to dissuade the engage forward. You can see the crits coming through from Vortex. It's 500 apiece, and I don't think that Lannister can defend this objective. Now rotating over to the bot side, it's being pushed in by Rotate though, which is kind of a difficult position to push up. Oh, mid lane, they pull the trigger. Going in already and using the Cataclysm, or rather not just yet, as Bubby is in the center of it all. Kirsty is buying some space, she's holding up 4 members. This is a split fight! This is really, really bad for top 10 dinos, but just as I say that, the Shockwave catches 3. It's a double kill already for Amelia, possibly a third, as she looks to confirm this kill. It's only Kirsty left alive, it's only the pick that doesn't work for them. As the Lissandra flees from the base, she's in the wrong direction, and a missile to finish her off.
Tons of damage coming in from the side of top 10 dinos. Amelia especially just makes them go boom. Why is Rotate at the bot side? Your base is going boom.
Look at the Nexus, it's going down, and top 10 dinos already looking to finish this game off. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a series on our hands, 1-1 apiece, and we're going to game 3.
Very uncommon to see a series in FSL because most of the teams are not at each other's level. But right now, top 10 dinos and Lannister, they're looking to be very fierce in these matchups head-to-head.
Yeah, that was a exciting game. The moment that Jinx came online, you could see that there was a bit of hesitance on the side of Lannisters. And I think the draft leaves a lot to be desired. I was talking about how the Lissandra pick is actually quite suboptimal. And true enough, when it came to the game, she had very little impact in these fights. Sure, in the last fight, she held 3 members with the Frozen Tomb, but you only need Cataclysm and Shockwave to, polish off the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, you end the game 0-5 and 0. That is definitely a huge question mark. But I want to praise Vortex and Vayne because they did step up that game. They finally had that pop-up performance that we were all looking for.
Yeah, this is a TrueFun's official apology for calling you guys
Yeah,
out.
sure.
If you can continue performing like that, you know, he's going to be very happy. But for now, guys, I believe we will be going for a short break. And when we come back, it will be Game 3 of the series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Gentlemen, welcome back to FSL Elite League of Legends Edition. We are on game point. It's 1-1 apiece between Lannister from Thailand and top 10 Dinos from Singapore. A rather commanding performance from top 10 Dinos. The previous game was off the back of the bot lane, which you so heavily doubted. I guess they made you eat your words there, TrueFun.
Yeah, I'm very happy to make me eat my words. Obviously, the hometown favorites, top 10 Dinos, not looking very happy that they got game 1 taken away from them, coming out swinging in game 2. I'm excited to see what the adaptations will be in this last game of the series.
Yeah, this is the first BO3 so far, and you take a look at your schedule. 1-1 apiece is the score right now. The winner of this is going to go and compete against Box Gaming in the actual final, which is going to be a best of 3 as well. The winner of that is going to come in first place for FSL Elite and take home the grand prize, which I believe is a cash prize of $1,000 and some peripherals from Logitech, courtesy of our sponsors, Logitech rather.
Yep, we love our sponsors. Now, but Box Gaming currently sitting in the sidelines, just watching and hopefully gaining some valuable intel on both of these teams, whoever they end up facing. But right now we are in Champion Select. Kane and Aatrox taken off the board. Nothing too out of the ordinary.
I feel like they're starting to target Urith out a little bit with the Nico as well. The Kane is no surprise. This is more or less reminiscent of the previous game's ban. So right now, if we talk about micro metas in terms of a series, what do you come to expect either team to change in terms of their picks and bans?
Well, I think you want to put rotate on something. Well, honestly, I don't think the issue was the Renekton. So banning away the Akali, forcing her to play the Renekton, can be something good for top 10 Dinos.
Oh, okay. This is the adaptation now. They get the Kai'Sa, and the previous game was banned out, and the immediate response here from Vortex might just be the Jinx, which she had such a good performance on it. If it ain't broken, don't fix it now. It looks like top 10 Dinos are just going to repeat the draft, get the Jarvan, get the Jinx.
I really do hope that Vortex and Vayne now with the lock-in, that is the Jinx, maybe they are going to be sort of unlocked. I want to see them continue to have that high performance that we did see in the previous game of the series.
Kha'Zix here might be a decent answer. We're talking about the availability of the Poppy as well as the Sejuani being slightly more important in terms of priority. In this case, it's going to be the Orianna locked in. Denying that away from Amelia is quite important because she had a very crucial performance there. I think she ended the game something like 7-0-5 or 7-0-8.
Sounds about right. I mean, that's the adaptation, I guess. You don't want to give Amelia these high damage carries. I mean, you take away the Orianna, you take away the Zoe. What's left on the board is, hey, the Syndra or the Ahri.
Now, because they do have the option to... Oh, hold on. By the way, the... what do you call it? The overlays are flipped, but you do have the option now they're on the red side. Top 10 Dinos can go for the counter pick for mid lane to make sure that Amelia gets a comfortable matchup.
Yeah, we do see the Olaf appearing once again. Like I said, very happy to see the Olaf finally being played on the main stage. And Ahri does get locked in. So that is a really good champion for Amelia. We've seen her in the qualifiers play Ahri, and she has been able to carry on this champion.
She's extremely comfortable on the champion, and it's no surprise that she will early pick it in this rotation. The fact stands that against the Orianna, Ahri is going to be able to mash the wave clear and threaten the kill potential if Orianna decides to walk out of lane into Fog of War.
Yeah, and hopefully in the previous game, Kirsty did not, get tilted off the face of the earth. We don't want to see another 0-5-0 performance. And right now, respecting Amelia's ability, picking up the cleanse on this Orianna.
Yeah, you know how irritated I get when people don't take cleanse when they play against Ahri. It's just because the charm is a problematic death sentence. If you get caught out in the lane, you always lose your prio the moment you get hit by the charm, and because it's on such a low cooldown, you can actually abuse it. They banned the cannon now, so Urith is actually going to get her champion pool limited a bit more. With the Yorick still open, you have to think that's going to be the next ban coming in from Lannister.
Yeah, no reason to not go for... Wait. Oh no, top 10 Dinos banned the Nautilus. So Vayne is what's the word? Evolving past the Dredge line.
If I can have it, you can have it.
Yeah, and you have to think the Yorick is here. No reason not to ban it away. I mean, this is your final game. The stakes are super high. You do not want to give that champion over.
Look at that. That's the face of worry when Yorick is about to be banned.
Oh, they do ban the Pike, so Yorick's open here.
Alright, and Right now, I think Yurif is going to have her pick of the pool. Of course, the Nico, the cannon was banned out. She did play the Swain earlier today, but as it stands, top 10 Dino still holding on to the last solo lane pick as well as the support. Are they going to, hold on to the support pick for last pick, the counter pick, or are they going to try and get Yurif the best matchup possible?
Yeah, that's the question here, innit? Actually, they're going to lock in the Thresh. So Thresh Jinx, we saw that in the previous game, played to quite a bit of success. So you would think that if top 10 Dinos, they might actually get the Yorick here.
Yeah, but what I'm curious about is that because the previous game you played Thresh into a composition that could not sit there and eat hooks. You had the Elise, you had the Lysandra. For all intents and purposes, the moment they get hooked, they have to back off, disengage. This time, it's an Olaf, Honestly, doesn't mind getting hooked. Pop Ragnarok, run straight at them. And if you are the Olaf leading the charge with the ball behind you and the Karma speed boost, a lot of threat on top of that.
Yeah, this is a speedy Olaf composition, right? With all the speed boost, like you said, allowing that Olaf to continue charging forward and hopefully find some kills. Kaisa, by the way, right here, looking pretty good, I think, able to just jump in to the back, I'm not sure what point I was trying to make. Then my brain just drew a blank.
All right, bot lane's gonna be Kaisa Karma here for Lannisters, and ladies feeling pretty confident. And there you go, Yurif with the Yorick. Was there any doubt in our minds?
All right, well, here's the thing with Yorick now on Yurif, because when she does pick up those ranged matchups, she's looking to survive the lane. But when she gets the Yorick, she's looking to bully the lane.
Yeah, and this is melee versus melee. We saw her play the Joker was, World of Warcraft Classic in the top side yesterday. PvE the enemy minions, you just take turrets down, you don't even bother team fighting, you don't even bother teleporting in to join the fight. And then when you hit that point where you're the raid boss, you invite people to challenge you. You take the 1v2s and you come out ahead.
Yeah, at the moment it is Poppy against Yorick, so Poppy does have a way of getting out of the walls by, charging Yorick away,
Right.
I think that interact is hard to describe, but I think you get the point.
Not to mention that this Poppy comes in to serve as a tool to ensure Jarvan the Fourth as well as Ahri do not get into the fight. So because of Steadfast Presence, you deny Jarvan's entry, you deny Ahri's escape. It actually does have a lot of value, and I think if you plan it properly, you can deny the Lantern being taken by anyone on the way out.
Yeah, that's only if the Poppy is able to withstand the damage that they will bring to all those fights. And here's the main worry that I have, because you have the Poppy, you don't have damage, you don't have way to mitigate Yorick continuing to bully you. I think those ghouls and the Q from Yorick is just going to be way too much for this Poppy to sustain in the early game.
Yeah, maybe the first buy you just try and rush the Bami Cinder to at least deal with the ghouls coming in, the ambient burn damage over time should be enough. You have to feel. My eyes right now are on the 2v2 mid and jungle matchup, because we kind of give a bit of the advantage over to Ahri. She's the one that is the aggressor. Orianna has to play the defensive reactive role, as seen by the cleanse. But with Jarvan in her back pocket, you think suddenly this 2v2 becomes a lot more dangerous, right? Olaf, although he does have early prio, doesn't have the strength to play this 2v2 without Ragnarok.
And here's the thing, right? Now that we do see Sbubby on the Jarvan 4 playing a little bit more reserve, I have to give the advantage over the top 10 Dino. Already because of the synergy that they already have with Amelia and Sbubby. We've seen this in the previous games. I don't think there's any reason for us to discount that here as well.
Yeah, she's a bit more reserved now, which is a sign of good things to come. The earlier games, she was recklessly charging into walls and ditching her team behind her, or rather forcing her team to abandon her, and she went in a bit too deep. But this time, the earlier game on Jarvan the Fourth had a bit more discipline. We have to see if it's replicated this time.
Yep, being mindful, that's the adaptation from Game 1 to Game 2. Hoping it stays for Game 3 if top 10 Dinos wants to make it into that finals.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be the draft. Sometimes it's just the way you play the game out. And when it comes to the micro of it all, Sbubby just has to be a bit more reserved. Now let's talk about this bot lane, because Jinx Thresh now has the Kai'Sa Karma matchup. Previously it was, I believe, the Xayah Braum. Did pretty well. This time, well is a relative term. They suffered quite a bit early on, but this time, how do you see the matchup going?
Well, if Vortex and Vayne are able to show up and provide the performance that we saw in the previous game, hats off. That's that bottom lane over to them.
Right.
But I think the catalyst for how they managed to pop off was that opportune missile into that top lane, and you cannot rely on that every single game. So
even when they got the missile, I think it was still quite difficult for them to self-snowball the lane up till their teammates came down and jammed the Rift Herald on the bot lane, right, if I remember correctly. So there's some danger there, the ability to play this lane out unless you find some sort of external help. It might be slightly tricky. You can see now hit-to-hit, the score now is 1-1. Lannisters are the Thai representatives and they're here to make a statement. They went 0-4 on the first day in the round robin, and right now we will turn and take a look at the video of both teams as they come in. Alright, this is the last game in this series. Lannisters will be on the blue side, and on the red it's going to be top 10 Dinos. Winner of this is going to proceed into the final to play against Box Gaming. It's been a tough day for both these teams, but they're fighting. They're hoping to get into the finals.
Yep, at the moment I think top 10 Dinos definitely have the stronger draft right now, but it is not the end of the world. Lannisters definitely can come back from that, I want to say early deficit with some good play.
Look at this early start here. It seems as though that they're going to put the Jarvan on the red buff start, and it's going to be a mirrored start on the top side by Tawan. So both these junglers from both teams will be starting on the same side of the map.
And just the thing, right, with Poppy versus Yorick, Poppy actually does have, level 1 push. And if Jarvan is starting top side, he goes for red. If he goes for Crux, he can actually cheese a level 2 gank in this melee versus melee matchup.
Yeah, and Swabi's no stranger to being super aggressive or hyper aggressive in these early levels. I think I remember an example from an earlier game where she saw the jungler in the river and straight up just flash charge on Poppy. This time on Jarvan, the EQ is available at level 2. Oop.
Yeah, Vayne here just going for, that cheeky ward to spot out Olaf if he does manage to go for the Raptor camp after the red buff start.
So tell either Olaf starts on her own red buff instead. So it will be a vertical mirror at least, not so much in a horizontal sense.
Yorick here coming up towards that top side. I really want to focus on this matchup because if Yorick is able to bully out this Poppy and begin that 1-4, it's going to be super difficult for Lannister to answer that, like we saw yesterday.
Yeah, but meanwhile, if a Rotate can answer this, you neutralize the Yorick. There is a diminished ability to sort of play on the side lanes. Oh, it's Bobby here, coming to the bot lane. There's a war in the tri-brush.
Run away.
They have to know.
Yeah, they know.
They know they're walking over to check this, and Swabi's just going to drop a single ward there and back off. What an interesting path coming through. She started on the red buff and immediately tried to level 2 cheese the bot lane off one camp.
Yeah, you would
just signals to us how much they want to snowball bot lane.
Yeah, but that's a lot of wasted time. You have to think that if you are going to go for that sort of cheeky level 2 gank, you might actually want to start on the side that you plan to gank. Like you might start blue, but instead she goes for red and immediately paths down to a bot like you said. And there's just tons of wasted time where she could have been using it to find XP and gold for herself.
Yeah, but meanwhile, because they saw the Jarvan on the bot side, Rotate can just build a big wave, push up, and pressure your Urith out under the turret.
Yeah, for the first few levels, Rotate's just going to have an advantage here at the top side. But once Yorick hits like level 3, level 4, he's going to have a much more easy time going up against this Poppy.
Bobby now already hitting her 3 camp clear, looking for the last one to hit level 3. In fact, she might be just looking into her opponent's jungle for some camps to take.
Yeah, you can see a ping coming down at the top side. Olaf has been just clearing out this red side top jungle. And it's just super unfortunate for this Jarvan 4 because she wasted so much time and then showed bot. It just gave Olaf such a huge opportunity to take XP and gold away from her.
Yeah, now Rotate is going to be pressured out a little bit as the wave pushes up, but there's Olaf on the top side to sort of respect and counter gank this. Like you said, Swabi super far behind now, losing a lot of her top side camps. And the best part is that Tawan is going to have knowledge of the respawn timers and will be able to come and force and at least steal the camps away when they do come up.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the point of the wave being pushed up, but ooh,
Great play in. The Chompers are going to connect onto both of them, but he ignite back. Oh no, it's a lot of damage. They have to back off. The Lantern, though, the Flash as well. Vortex very, very low, having to back off. The Zap is going to tag Risu in the face. And it's going to be 3 Summoner Spells used from Lannisters on the side of the 2 of top 10 Dinos who held the Ignite in their pockets still.
Yeah, Thresh still has Ignite, but overall, both AD carries expending both defensive summoners. This is a very vulnerable lane if either jungler wants to come down here and provide some assistance.
Speaking of junglers, it's going to be the Jarvan sitting in wait in the mid lane, but to no avail. The wards are going to spot her out. The Scryer's Bloom as well. There's nowhere the Spubby can go without getting unnoticed.
At that moment, definitely have to back off because take a look at the mid lane. It's actually pretty even. Neither laner really has priority right now. Unable to assist Jarvan if he does manage to go in.
The EXP deficit is a big issue right now for Spubby because she lost a lot of camps. She's only level 3 to the 4 Tawan, who is about 1.5 camps ahead of her, make that 2 as she gets the Gromp here. And if you look on the mini-map, there's absolutely nothing left for the jungler of top 10 Dino to take.
There's a super sad Jarvan for. I don't think anything should be respawning anytime soon, so it's just more wasted time as she paths around her own jungle, looking for something to feed on. Bot side looks a little juicy though.
Juicy indeed as they walk up, but guess what? There's going to be a ward there that's been spotted out by the Scryer's Bloom. So this gank is going to get dodged out, but as they clear the ward out, the zone is going to be, or rather they will be able to zone away Risu and Paddy in the bot lane.
Yep, Olaf understanding that Jarvan was bot side in fact, and going towards that top side for, an attempted gank, unfortunately a little bit early and misplayed, not coming out with any sort of advantage.
We'll punish them though and still be able to back off. Meanwhile, it's a big wave being stacked up here for the bot lane of top 10 Dino. They will have to at least deal with this and push out before they want to recall.
Yeah, Rotate is now beginning to feel the wrath of the Yorick, pushing with those ghouls, making her life hell really, but here's the issue of Yorick in these early levels. If she carries on, punishing you and poking you out of your lane, she runs out of mana really quickly.
Yeah, first buy coming through from the mid laner of Lannisters. It's going to be a Lost Chapter picked up, whereas Amelia doesn't have one of her own because she did recall slightly earlier. So it's going to be a discrepancy in terms of power value. Kirsty is going to be able to heal up a good amount of mana every time she levels up. Meanwhile, Bobby sneaking the Cloud Drake away.
It's not too dangerous. Before we saw this, we did see Ahri on the minimap pushing up to secure a bit of vision, making sure Olaf is nowhere in the vicinity before Jarvan actually started up that dragon. So it was a pretty safe dragon and they do manage to sneak it away.
Now, this is a low tempo, slower game as compared to the previous one, although there is a decent goal gap being established right now from Lannister's side. It's largely in the hand of the junglers right now, because Tawan managed to steal so many camps away.
Yep. There's a sizable lead in the mid lane as well, though Orianna now pushing up the Ahri.
Oh, hold on here, using the Spirit Rush, trying to get away. Amelia finally gets out. Was forced to commit the ultimate. Meanwhile, Kirsty had to commit double Summoner Spells, and meanwhile on the top side, Europe is going to get punted away by the Keeper's Verdict.
Yeah, trade-off power, but in the mid lane, Kirsty did have to use both Cleanse and Flash for that.
Oh, Great Lantern in the Flag and Drag is not going to find its target there as Kirsty manages to walk out. Death Sentence sails by, and suddenly it's a party in the mid lane as everyone walks up to join this fight.
Yeah, just before this, you were calling it a slow game, but it looks like both of these teams, they really want to go at each other.
Rotate uses the teleport to get back into the top side, and like we said, go for the early Balmy Cinder so that she can clear the wave out and clear the ghouls out. Oh, they're spamming pings here. They have to back off.
Spooky, spooky. And Demand, you can see that this Olaf, she really, really wants to look for these ganks, to look for these opportunities. She's been top, she's been mid, and now she's been bot. She's been all over the map looking for an engage, and unfortunately, top 10 Dinos have been playing super safe and denying that opportunity.
And it goes back to the fact that Spubby took a very weird path to the bot lane and got spotted out. Because of that, it opened up the top half for Tawan to just path in, steal camps, get a tempo lead as well. Right here in the jungle, Ragnarok will be used. The flay back in was more or less denied there. It's an ultimate for a single spell, and I think this is a window where Tawan will be a bit more vulnerable if you move forward.
And you could see there was a moment there where Tawan was like, should I turn around and go back in? Luckily for them, they did not, because there was an Ahri hovering in the back, ready to re-engage. So Tawan playing safe, credit to her for not, throwing away this, stable game state.
Yeah, she doesn't have to, hard pressure by committing for kills. Sometimes the soft pressure is enough. Being available and alive on the map means that all the lanes that you're on the side of the map on have to be very careful.
Right now, though, we do see Yorick moving down because of this priority that he was able to gain from the Poppy lane. Now, Poppy cannot push back up. Urif is just continuing to take down these minions and pressuring Rotate back under turret. So, vision towards that top side, advantage top 10 die.
Oh, good damage down to Rotate though. Urif now already up the Conqueror proc up. Maiden of the Mist is gonna help her supplement the damage as the ghouls are being spawned out. Rotate not having the best time in this top side despite having a small CSD. It's almost negligible. It's about a wave and a half as they trade back and forth. It's a bit of a wet noodle fight to say the least.
It's going to be a wet noodle fight at least until Yorick gets the Sheen, which you would think is coming along pretty nicely. I mean, she already has a Sapphire Crystal. You think in the next pack the Sheen should come online.
Hook sailing past once more. I think your praise for Vayne was a bit preemptive now. She's having a bit more trouble in this game. And granted, she's trying to hook targets that are sped up, but still has to make those count if she wants to make things happen for her bot laner.
Yeah, credit to the happy feet at the bot side of Lannister, not allowing Vayne to find the hooks and the engages that may spell doom for Lannister.
Now, first item for both these mid laners should be the Luden's Echo, whereas on the top side, Europe is looking for the Trinity Forest, and Rotate might just want the Tab Eyes first. AD carry wise, I think it should be the Storm Razor for the Kai'Sa, considering she went for BF Sword, and Infinity Edge first for Vortex's Jinx.
Yeah, at the moment the game state is pretty slow. I think at the moment the objectives aren't helping either. If you take a look on your screen right now, the next Drake is going to be Ocean. I don't think either team should be prioritizing it too much.
Now we missed it on the screen, but it was the Shockwave committed to burn the Spirit Rush coming through as well. So Kirsty as well as Amelia will trade ultimates back and forth. But it's the Ahri that gets chunked out and will have to recall.
Yeah, Amelia here actually being pushed out of lane. Contrasted to the previous game, nice to see Kirsty not, being overly tilted from before.
It's almost as though she's saying, well, you think you can play Orianna, so can I. And now we're at the point where they're facing off and Orianna is the one coming out ahead in this lane.
Yeah, definitely to see if Amelia is able to continue to step up. I mean, it's only about a 30 CS deficit right now. It may look large, but the goal difference shouldn't be too apparent in these fights. That being said, though, that is a Luden's Echo completed for the Orianna.
Yeah, Luden's not done yet either for Amelia, so the lane power for sure now going to belong to the Orianna. Meanwhile, Urif on the top side is going to play PvE and just siege down and take the plates on the top lane.
Yeah, PvE like you said earlier, but we do see him making off something funky, Thresh moving up. Should be just securing vision around this Rift Herald for now.
He's going to recall, and like you said, Sheen done already, looking for the Triforce here.
Yeah, this vision game coming in from top 10 DINO super apparent right now.
Rotating around the map, a good flash, but the Death Sentence once more missing, and a great Shockwave on 3 is going to buy her some space, but the Cataclysm is going to keep her inside. A great Keeper's Verdict to knock her away, but eventually he's going to go down. Amelia now having to flash out and the missile and the rocket this time, not connecting. Top 10 Dinos find first blood there, but on the response, it's going to be an Ocean Drake taken by Lannister here.
Yeah, take a look. Lannisters were able to push out that bot lane in favor of themselves, and that does mean a free Ocean Dragon because Jarvan did show herself up towards top.
And this is what we mean, sometimes when Bubby plays the Poppy, she goes over aggressive, it doesn't work out. In this case, she does push the envelope, uses the Cataclysm to keep Kirsty checked in place, unable to move, and they polish off the kill.
Okay, now Rotate does spot out the Rift Herald.
Oh, very low. Jarvan has to be careful. She could be slammed in the wall, flashing away now. She needs the smite to finish this one off. They go back in and they should be able to clean up. Rotate here. Amelia is very low and Urif is stuck in the pit alone. They sacrifice her. They're all flashing out.
Oh, man. That is 2 flashes coming in from the jungler and the top laner. That's a lot of summoner spells burnt for a Rift Herald. You have to think that now that you have that Rift Herald, you have to find equivalent value, and I think you have to put it down soon, or those turret plates are going to expire.
I think the timing window has closed here because they're all recalling. There's really no one in position to make use of this Rift Herald. So if you can't get the turret plates with the Rift Herald used, maybe you just hold on to after you win a fight and then, snowball the Rift Herald into more objectives. That might be easier, actually.
Yeah, and that begins to put a timer on when they should find these fights, because once that Rift Herald expires, you don't want to use it in base. That's just a huge feels bad, man.
Chunk coming through onto Amelia, the Shockwave as well. They might just be able to find a kill. The heal was used from Vortex to keep her support alive. The damage from Kirsty is starting to stack up, especially because no one on the side of top 10 Dinos have any magic resistance to speak of.
Yeah, lots of action happening across the board with only 1 kill to speak of overall.
As we say that turret platings will fall on the 14-minute mark. Both teams looking to reset a little bit coming through.
Yep, if you take a look at the vision score right now, I was praising top 10 DINO earlier, but they sort of have given up a lot of wards towards that top side, and now Urif should be securing the first turret with an next kill.
Oh, the hook connecting onto the Karma and the box being put down as well, but Ragnarok means that Olaf doesn't care. They're looking for the kill. The stopwatch will keep her alive, and a great flag and dragon, the Cataclysm. Get excited with Vortex is just leaping forward. She has the red buff. She's looking for the kill. She will surely get the support here, and it's going to be a double for the bot lane or top 10 dinos, but Mew on the top side, the fight continues. Rotate getting stuck between the walls. Urif getting knocked out by the Keeper's Verdict. Maiden of the Mist is going to be tagging Rotate up by just a little bit, but you have to think the advantage is on the bot side now. They found the kills, they popped the Rift Herald, and they will be able to snowball this bot lane.
Yep, wet noodle fight at the top side, but bot side is where the story is. They managed to find the fight, and they managed to pick up 2 kills. That's 2-0-0 on the Jinx, as well as a huge ton of gold with the Rift Herald taking that tower.
Fight still continuing on the top side as Steadfast Presence was used by Rotate's Poppy to get out. Urif still has enough mana as well as health to trade back and forth, so she's not too concerned. She did take the first turret earlier, so this is a small objective, or I say small, relatively decent objective being picked up by the top lane of top 10 dinos.
Yeah, but now the only tier 1 turret left for Lannister to defend is in the mid lane. You would think that top 10 dinos would want to go for that, begin to open up the map once more and play and be able to play that vision that they like to do so.
Now the Kai'Sa and Karma haven't had the best time in this bot lane. 1-0-0 though is a decent scoreline. They hit that first major power spike in the form of the Storm Razor, and this is when you are gunning for the Green Suits before you come online. The 2-item spike is actually pretty decent for Kai'Sa, whereas Jinx is more reliant on the third item. You need 2 crit items in addition to the Infinity Edge to be at maximum damage potential.
Yeah, either way, I would still prefer at this point of time, anyway, to have the Infinity Edge over the Storm Razor right now if I was the Jinx. So this Jinx looking super happy to go for the next fight.
There's a small reset coming through from both teams as they get their next set of buys in, but the vision being put down is blatantly obvious. You can see in the mid lane 2 control wards from each team.
Yeah, this vision game has been really back and forth, and I really like to see both these teams, contesting for vision around important objectives.
But the wave clear though, still pretty decent from Kirsty in the mid lane. There's nothing much they can do to pressure down mid, apart from make a pick on the Orianna.
Yeah, you can see right now Lannister positioning very, very defensively around their own tower. They do not want to give top 10 dinos the opportunity to open up the map. They do not want that tower to fall. And luckily for them, that tower is super healthy thanks to Kirsty pushing up the Ahri earlier this game.
40 CS lead for the mid lane of Lannister versus that of Amelia.
That's like 1.2k gold on Orianna in comparison to the Ahri. So that's a huge chunk of gold. I do believe Ahri does have the Luden's Echo now though, so that is a bit of a damage equalizer.
Boasting the Oblivion Orb as well in her inventory, so this is an additional magic penetration that she has. Still skipping over the Sorcerer's Boots, so not really decided on tier 2 boots just yet. Oh, Shockwave used in the mid lane, Vayne very low now, has to respect the damage coming through. Yeah, Killer Instinct is available, so they could look for the play here if they wanted. The Void Seeker tipping her down to 150 health.
Yeah, if you look around the minimap before that fight started, Jarvan was actually positioning very aggressively, going to attempt to take that dragon, and what this does, forcing Vayne away, is denying priority over the mid lane and preventing Jarvan from taking that objective.
Nothing new to see here. Grass is green. Urif is split pushing by herself on turrets, and she's just going to hit that point where she's going to be in a position of 1v2. Pings down onto the Ocean Dragon as Vortex is going to start it up with the Zap.
Yeah, pushing up the wave, gaining priority over the mid now is top 10 dinos, and this allows them to take this dragon without any vision contest coming in from Lannister. It should be free.
Alright, top 10 dinos now with a Cloud and the Ocean in their pockets. They revealed that there were multiple members around the dragon, so all of a sudden Urif is in a bit of trouble. She will have to flash, but the Keeper's Verdict keeps her up, and Risu is going to kill her Instinct in to get the kill there.
You can't exactly play PvE when your enemy sends 3 members to deal with you, but what does this open up the map for this?
Using the Cataclysm, or excuse me rather, the Ragnarok to get out. The Cataclysm available, Wool Trap, Olaf, but instead they choose to play safe. Do not use that big ticket ultimate just yet.
Yeah, still early on in the game, committing 3 members to taking down Urif at the top side. does not convert to much of an objective take coming in from top 10 dinos, but you have to think, how are you going to deal with this Yorick? You have to put her further behind, or she's just going to continue split pushing.
Landing the charm here, a good deal of damage onto the RE. They have to back off Amelia using the Spirit Rush defensively, in fact. Olaf is throwing axes at quite a heavy pace now, you have to think, despite not stacking any sort of AD. It still hurts.
Yeah, it still hurts. Olaf right now going for a bit more tankiness. I think that is Jorum's Fist in his inventory, so definitely stacking a bit more health. Gonna be harder to deal with as the game progresses.
And even goes for the Tab Eyes as well.
Yeah.
So you think about how Olaf negates CC with the Ragnarok. You actually don't need tenacity in this build. Straight up just pop Ragnarok, run in, and then the damage from basic auto attacks are going to be reduced with the Ninja Tab Eyes.
Yeah, it's not just that, it's the mental factor as well. You see Olaf running into your team, you can't stop him, and it's just like, what do I do, you know?
You know what you can do? You can kill the Olaf because you can't un-CC yourself from death.
Good luck with that once he completes that second item.
Right now, Baron has spawned about 10 seconds ago. It will be up right now.
Yeah, both top laners actually just positioning towards that bot side, going for the wet noodle fight Mark II, but they both have teleport, so they can join any sort of fight that begins to break out around the Baron pit.
Now, I'm inclined to give the advantage over to Yurif just because she can do things like that. You know, use the Maiden of the Mist and then chunk rotate out, who doesn't really have a response available. She can only sit under the wave and CC and try to counter the push, but she can't take the 1v1.
And there's a surprise factor on the ultimate expended, so you would think that Rotate would understand, hey, the ultimate is down, I have to play a little bit more safer, I cannot walk up to contest these minions.
Amelia is going to find a control ward here and clear it out, but overall it's still going to time out still.
Yeah, you can see the vision line beginning to favor top 10 dinos once again as they now are able to push up that vision.
I'm really concerned though, because as the game goes on, Vortex is going to keep scaling up, and this 3-item Jinx has shown us how well she performed the previous game. This time it looks to be another a repeat of the previous scenario.
Yeah, you definitely have to defend the Jinx though, and I like the fact that because they have this Olaf, once he stacks a little bit more health and tankiness, you can just run into that backline. And like I said, the mental factor could throw them off enough so that you can pick up the kill on the Jinx.
We always see, you know, Zac, Sejuani being used as ball delivery systems. This time Olaf running in, being sped up, might just be the tool that they need to catch the AD carry out.
Alright, and we resume the mid lane siege as Lannister are forced to bring three members at the moment to defend that objective. Eurofam now just continue playing PvE.
Yeah, despite us being in Southeast Asia, the NA RAM is unavoidable sometimes.
RAM.
Yeah, NA RAM.
Okay. Right, Vortex right now with the Zeal looking pretty strong. They are forcing Lannister off this tower, but a bit of wave clear will force top 10 dinos to retreat.
What you do now if you're top 10 dinos is you try to control vision around the Baron and maybe hope to make a pick if they walk up and, you know, check your Fog of War.
This is a lull state, right? You just have to play a bit more carefully. You have to work on the vision game much more now than in a typical Fiesta fight. Can't really go for any sorts of random engages here.
Another thing they could do is also bait out a fight and force Rotate to teleport in and then just back off, right? You bait the fight, Rotate TPs in, you open up the bot lane for Yurif to split push. That's another way they can gain an advantage in this game.
Yeah, but it's playing a very risky game. If your game plan is to force a 4v5 and you don't have the means to get out quickly, you could just give over 4 kills to the enemy.
It is a risky play, but if you do execute well, you probably find bot tier 2 as well as possibly the mid inhibitor turret. Right now though, they are still just playing in the mid lane, the NA RAM, as I refer to it.
Yeah, Poppy was forced to back off, so she does come back slightly stronger with a bit more defensives to deal with the Yorick, who right now is also backing off to pick up a few more items.
Yeah, but meanwhile in the AD carry position, Risu already picked up the Guinsu's Rage Blade, which is this spike that we like to refer to as really adept at killing the Baron, but also good at team fighting, because now all of a sudden your plasma stacks much quicker. Look at the gold difference coming through. It's only a 700 difference for Yurif, but that's made up for in the mid lane.
Yeah, but 1.2k in the mid lane still. This is Orianna versus the Ahri. Orianna gonna have significantly more damage at this stage of the game, unless Ahri is able to find the opportune charm.
Looking like they want to go in here. You could see suddenly everyone from Lannister was just rallying and walking up in the mid lane. And Vayne might be overstepping her boundaries here if she's not careful. A great shockwave will catch Bubby here. And she's going to get taken down. The blast code not even enough to get her out of distance here. Killer Instinct in from Risu. Used to pick up the kill. Meanwhile, Yurif on the top side. Split pushing once more.
That's what you're talking about, right? Baiting the Poppy to join the team in a team fight, allowing Yurif this free time to take another turret.
The only reason that pick was managed to, or the only reason they managed to convert that pick was because the Poppy did journey down, like you said. But you know, similarly, Yurif will convert on the top tier too. Yeah,
but you get a turret for a kill and Ocean Drake. That's not exactly worth. Sure, you open up the map a little bit more, but the only turret you really need right now is mid tier 1.
And also, usually when you make these sort of like bait plays, you want to see the enemy use the teleport instead. Rotate there had the opportunity to walk over to help her team, so there's really not much of an advantage to be garnered there.
Yep, Yorick now just venturing towards the bot side once again to continue that push. And Rotate here actually joining up with the team. Not exactly sure if she's gonna be posted to Yorick duty once again. But that team fight with Rotate as the front line could be very difficult for top 10 DINO to overcome.
She has the stopwatch, she has the Giant's Belt, so she's going to be soaking a lot of damage and staying alive in these fights for quite a while, actually. Moving forward aggressively, Vayne is looking for the hook here. I don't think that you follow up on a hook on Rotate either. It's either you find the support or the mid laner if you want to start the fight. Even a charm doesn't matter. You can see she takes absolutely no damage from a full combo on Ahri.
Yeah, but in the bot side, you actually have Yorick and Kai'Sa going at it. And Kai'Sa, sure, you have a little bit more wave there in the Poppy, but if a fight does break out at mid, you don't have the teleport and you don't have enough damage.
So they find bot tier 2 and they start up the Baron, and down it goes. It's down to 1,000 gold, 1,000 health already, and the shockwave was actually whipped in the mid lane. That's super important because Kirsty with that big ticket ultimate down already means that they can't converge on the Baron quick enough. This is being snuck away and will be disengaged from.
Yeah, they saw the makings of a fight at mid lane. They're like, all right, we don't want to give them 2 kills. We're just gonna back off and reinforce this mid lane turret. We don't want to give away our lead.
You know, bot lane split pushing once more is Yurif, and she doesn't need to rejoin anything right now. She can just make her presence felt through the minions that are pushing up. Oh, the pick being made, the cleanse being used, and Kirsty is still alive for a second longer. The Cataclysm on top of her, she's still alive, and she's still going. They trade the mid laner for the jungler, but Vayne is very low. They have to disengage. The Zap is going to find the support here. Paddy extremely low as well. Yep, Super Mega Death Rocket was used in that instance, but it's going to be the bot inhibitor. Like I said, you know, bait the fight, and Yurif is going to claim the structures.
Yeah, this is super duper worth. They managed to pick up the life of the mid laner, who was the main damage dealer for their jungler, and they do manage to pick up a crucial tower, breaking open the base of Lannister.
So they find mid tier 1, and now that they see multiple members here, there's a window for them to go into the jungle and put vision down. Alternatively, they can just reset and get a free buy-in without getting punished with their vision being removed.
Yeah, take a look. If you want to talk about vision right now, look at the top side of the jungle. It's all top 10 dinos. All those red wards right there denying vision from over the Baron pit. That is an objective that they want to take. We've already seen they were willing to sneak it away, and this just encourages them to go for the worm.
Worm will be the next big objective for sure, as Cloud is only 2 minutes away. Amelia needs to back off here and reset, I believe. She has a lot of gold in her pocket, but things down in the mid lane. Vortex has to be very careful about her positioning.
Very careful indeed. It's going to have reinforcements now, but they might be a little bit too late. Nope, Vortex does have enough wave here to dissuade Lannister.
How much gold is Amelia holding in her pocket? Because she hasn't based in a while. If she fights here, she has 1.6k. That's almost, I think, another nearly large rod in her pocket that she could buy. Instead, they're holding off. They need to reset. They need to buy.
Yeah, 100% needing the reset is Amelia, but not taking your advice right now. Oh, she is. All right, great.
Just buy. Just go back home, buy, get your control wards, and then fight afterwards. I'm not sure why you're sticking around.
Still not following your advice. I mean, it's a bit of a lull state. I don't see any reason for her not to go back to base. Control wall being placed down on the Baron, though, is going to have to be cleared out by top 10 dinos if they do decide to start their objective soon.
Vortex now at 3 items. This Jinx is powered up to the maximum. I say maximum, it's relative, so this is the strongest point in the game versus her opponent, who 3-item Kai'Sa still, it's good, but you won't have the necessary range to duel against this Jinx in team fights. You're always going to be kiting around, trying your best to stay out of danger, whereas Jinx will be allowed free reign with the extended range.
Right now, Amelia finally backing and picking up another needle route towards building towards that Rabadon's death cap now is going to have a lot more pick potential, and that's exactly what they need if they want to, you know, find a favorable pick to start this Baron off.
This is smart though, because there's no MR on the side of Lannisters. There's only a single Athene's Unholy Grail on the Karma, so skip the magic penetration. You already have sword boots. Go for the flat AP.
Alright, right now, we do see Lannister begin to contest the vision around the Baron. They definitely start to understand that you don't want to be giving that vision away for free. Ooh.
Yurith is going to get knocked away by the Keeper's Verdict, so that's the ultimate down. Meanwhile, the hook is going to land on the Olaf. They're not really forcing the Ragnarok out just yet. Tawan is still very tanky, can soak the damage if she needs to. And she does. Pings down the bot side. Yurith is just pushing and pushing, man.
Yeah, and this is the part of the game where you have to ask Lannister, okay, do you go answer the Yorick and potentially give up the Baron, or do you defend Baron and allow Yorick to continue split pushing into the base?
This is, you know, tough decisions all around, almost a lose-lose situation, if you will, because Yurith is so confident in just staying past, you know, the river, staying in your opponent's base and just pushing consistently. They send Patty back to deal with Yorick, and the wall slam isn't really going to knock her in. Meanwhile, here in the mid lane, they find the AD carry, and that's the target that they want. They should be able to translate over to the Baron now if the call is right. Amelia dipping back in, looking for a bit more, being a bit greedy. But Yurith doesn't care, she's just pushing. She's sitting inside here, taking the trades against Rotate with the Maiden of the Mist there. It's gonna call Patty over, and this is the 1v2 raid boss. Oh man, Yurith with the flash doesn't want to chase down, just wants to take the structure by herself.
Baron's being started up though.
Baron's being started up. Yurith is sure to die here, but is she going to take anyone down with her? She forces the stopwatch out as well. She flashes away. She buys so much space. She's still trading.
Wait.
She's healing up. She's 1v3 now. She's looking for more. The Baron has been taken. She gets the kill. She gets 2. Is she looking for a 3rd? No, she will fall. And the raid boss Yurith eventually dies, but not before her team gets Baron.
Raid boss Yurith, definitely an apt description there of this Yorick, managing to find 2 kills as her team picks up the main objective on the map. This is a huge advantage over the top 10 dinos. This game should not be long for the world.
This is what we were saying at the start of the game, right? Yurith on Yorick. You play PvE, you siege, eventually you get to that point where even if they try 1v2 you, 1v3 you, it doesn't matter. You turn the fight around with Maiden of the Mist.
Yeah, these teams, they keep underestimating what Yurith can do on this 1-4 Yorick, and they keep letting it through. Sure, sometimes she picks up the Nico, sometimes she picks up the Swain, but when you give her Yorick, she becomes the lane bully, and she is able to push you out and punish you when you make bad movements.
And you could see in that fight, it was a lose-lose no matter what. When they found the pick early on, we didn't really see who started that pick on the AD carry, but when Risu dropped, it was really difficult for them to make the right decision. And credit to Lannister, they decided to commit downwards because they knew they probably couldn't have fought for the Baron. They just underestimated how strong this Yorick was at that point in time.
When you couldn't fight for the Baron, you definitely can't fight a Yorick. I mean, you commit 3 and you lose 2, that is I mean, if anything, that's a tilter.
Tilter indeed, as 4.5 minutes is left on the Elder Dragon. Not sure if we'll be sticking around to see that one spawn because, like you said, game is not long for this world. Yurith still has the teleport, will be resuming her split push duty in the bot lane. The only 3 things certain: life, death, taxes, and Yurith split pushing.
That's 4 things. But a glimmer of hope is that Yurith here does not actually have the Baron buff, so this split push is definitely as effective as it could be.
Oh, pulling the trigger in the mid lane, they're overreaching just a bit. It was a flash coming in from the Olaf, but look at the return damage from Vortex. A Grey Flank coming in, the Cataclysm keeps 2 of them inside. The Keeper's Verdict resets this fight. Now Ragnarok used by the Olaf already. They're charging forward and they're resetting just a little bit, but look at the base. Look at the base. Yurith is just hammering away. They just need to stop the recalls. They just need to stop them from going back, and they're picking this fight. They're all clumped up. The critical hits coming through, and the Jinx is just popping off in this fight. Yurith doesn't even want to finish this off. They don't need the fight. They can just go for the Nexus, and top 10 dinos come back to reverse sweep this series 2-1.
Lannister's absolutely being destroyed in their last fight. I mean, you lose a 3v5 when Amelia and Yurith are pushing into the base. At the end of the day, they do pick up the big V and they move on to face the Vietnamese.
Yeah, rematch once more for the 3rd time. Yesterday they played once, today they played once more, and Box Gaming lying in wait, the final boss. Not sure top 10 dinos feel super confident about going up against them. We'll have to find out later on, but for now, let's talk about the brackets so far.
Right.
Coming through a 0-4, which was really tough yesterday, they managed to win the elimination match and push forward past Liab. In the series, Lannister started off super strong, 1-0 rather. But top 10 Dinos dug deep, found a strength that they need to reverse sweep.
That's the flexibility and the adaptability that you need to have in these sorts of situations. I mean, a best of 3 allows you to have these creative picks for you to come back after a loss and say, hey, we got this, we can still come back. And top 10 Dinos showed that they were able to do just that and pick up 2-1 victory.
When it comes to series, best of 3 series or best of 5 series, it tends to be the case that you can adapt on the fly like you mentioned, but also the players themselves making the right changes, right? We called it at the start. Swabby's Poppy was a bit too adventurous. Was that the word we were going for? Eager?
Adventurous? Eager?
Eager? Yeah.
That's
but
a good
when she picked up the Jarvan, it seemed like a whole different ballgame.
And I mean, that's the most obvious example, I think. And I think a huge part of this is also the fact that Vortex and Vayne, they finally showed up in this series. I really hope that form is back to stay, as they're going to need it for this next opponent.
Okay, guys, we will be throwing over to Riku, who will be standing by for an interview, I believe. The team is getting ready. We can see them in front.
Oh. Well,
Whoa, thank you very much. Again, that was an intense BO3 series between Lannister and top 10 Dinos. Together with me is top 10 Dinos. It was an amazing run and tons of feels. And of course, we do want to know their thoughts about this tournament. It is your first time competing or representing Thailand here in the tournament. So how is the experience for you for the FSL?
It's the new experience for us because we never play with international tournaments before, so it's a good experience.
It's definitely one of the best moments in your esports career for sure, and you've learned a lot. My next question would be, what is the highlight? What were your highlights or memorable moments in the tournament?
Came back from the hell, but yesterday we lost all 3 games, right? But today we did good enough, I think. Maybe
we can win just one game, but we can win.
That's true. You came back from, just as you said, from hell from yesterday, and you knocked out Liab in the tournament. But my last question for you would be, I'm sure there are a lot of people watching right now and are inspired by watching you. And of course, for your fans, what is your message for them and the people watching you?
Can I speak Thai? Can we speak Thai to our fans? Okay. พูดเลย
ค่ะขอบคุณชาวแฟนคนไทยทุกคนนะคะที่ติดตามเราแล้วก็ขอโทษที่ทำให้ผิดหวังนะคะเรามาไกลได้ขนาดนี้ก็ ดีแล้วขอบคุณมากค่ะ Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for participating. Thank you again, Lannister. And that would be it for our BO3 lower brackets. We will be proceeding with our finale. It is going to be top 10 Dino versus the scary and undefeated. My brain lagged a little bit, but yes, it is Box Ladies. It happens. But I'm sure you all are very excited for that. So do stay tuned for that. And when we come back, it's going to be the awesome conclusion of the FSL League of Legends. See you later.